I mean, it doesn't really matter. I've got a few other dud accounts that I use anyway. That's not the issue. What my issue is with Facebook is that I get banned for 3 days simply because, as I said, I was shirtless at the time. I was having a couple of drinks. Okay, that was primarily that. But I had pants on at the time, so I wasn't really nude. But apparently I got reported for nudity. Now, I had a situation a while back where I had a profile picture reported. And the profile picture that was reported was actually a picture of me shirtless. Now, okay, you know, I mean, I'm well aware that I've got man boobs, but I don't think that's going to warrant me having a nude ban or a nude factor from posting. And the first thing is I hadn't posted anything. As I said, it's just little things like that that frustrated the shit out of me, and I couldn't figure out why the hell it was happening. Now, the other side of it too is there is part of the system that works that you get reported. There is part of that as well, and there's reporting assholes. Obviously, people who just don't give a fuck about anybody else. Not just that, but there's people, I'd say, that just they want to ruin everybody else's fun. That's the problem. You know what? That's pretty much a fuck you to those people because, you know, it didn't really ruin my fun. I've got other avenues that I can go through when it comes to online stuff. But I kind of look into a couple of different YouTubers and other people that, you know, troll people and things like that. Not just that, but I mean, I like trolling a little bit. But I mean, at the end of it, you know, I was having fun then. I was enjoying myself pretty well for the stuff I was doing. And you know what shitted me the most at the end of it is that 3-day ban. I'm thinking, okay, hold on a second. So I basically got banned for nudity when I wasn't even nude to start with. I was only having a couple of drinks. I was relaxing at the time. I don't know. I was being a smart ass too. That probably something to do with that. But apparently, from what I'm gathering from most of the stuff I've been reading, and this is just some of the stuff though, but the stuff I've been reading online about Facebook and what it's been doing lately is it's pretty much been killing free speech. It hates free speech. It seems to have a problem with it, and it has an initial issue with free speech. It doesn't like the fact that, well, firstly, it doesn't like the fact that you're expressing yourself freely. It doesn't give a shit. I mean, and another thing too is that if it's a taboo subject or a controversial subject, they'll knock you away from it pretty much. And that is another problem too. I think people should be able to talk about controversial subjects and not feel like they're being judged or well, not just judged, but not feel like they're being fucking pushed away because of it. You know, it's kind of fucking stupid to me. I don't get that bullshit. I am honestly pissed with the cunts in the way they treated me in that sense, you know. I'm looking at the end of it, not there's a few things I can do about it. There's obviously legal action at some point because I'll be honest. I mean, if you want to look at it from a technical standpoint and a legal standpoint, they were technically saying I was fat. That's pretty much an equivalent. They were making a fat joke about me. All right, which you know, maybe that sounds a little bit weird to some people, but it's true. I mean, that's in the essence of context of what they're pretty much saying is you have fat, you're fat, you have man boobs, and we're going to ban you for nudity because apparently man boobs are nudity, but according to Facebook's system, which is kind of retarded. I really want to know the person or the human factor that was contributing to that. I mean, Jesus Christ, what, are you offended by man boobs? Are you offended by your mother's breasts? For fuck's sake, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, seriously. I mean, oh my God. Anyway, that's not the fucking point. That's beside the fucking point. The thing that's shitting me the most, I guess, in the long run is, well, okay, so basically you're saying, you know, somebody can't have freedom of expression, they can't stick their man boobies out here and go, oh, that's... I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, seriously, what the fuck is going on with people? Freedom of expression and freedom of speech, I think, is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, because it stops a lot of things from happening, negative things from happening. Because people know what's happening. They know the shit that is happening. And by the way, I got a Sherlock fucking Holmes pipe. I do actually have this, actually, and I have smoked out of it, because so it's quite nice. Anyway, my point is, like, how the fuck does that work? And please explain that shit to me. I'm really at a loss for words. I think that would be the best experience. I mean, yesterday I wasn't in the best mood to talk about a lot of that shit at this point. So anyway, as the relevance go to it anyway, that's my point. Like, Facebook basically banned me for 3 days. I'm so many days for it now. I think I've got probably about 1 day and so many hours to go before it's unbanned. So, okay, I'm kind of sitting there. I was like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, okay. Firstly, you're pretty much saying to me, you turn around, it's like, oh, fuck, man. No. It's like, you're fucked, you know. You're a fucked individual because, you know, you decided to get drunk, have some fun, and get shirtless. I mean, I can understand if it was a woman, because I'm not, I mean, this is my point, I'm not a fucking woman, I'm a fucking man, that's the first part of it. And, you know, man boobies are pretty common these days, especially with the amount of carbohydrates and other medications and factors. And the other side of it, too, is I can't avoid it because of my medications. A lot of the shit, the contributing factors of my life and these fucking cunts is because, at the end of it, well, let's just look at it this way. I'll be honest. It's fucking medication. It's mostly medication that affects that. I mean, it's weight and it's exercise that affects it to a certain extent too. But there's also the fact that I do exercise. It's not as if I don't do any of that stuff. And I think that's probably the thing that got me the most. I'm like, what the actual fuck is wrong with these cunts? Like, seriously, what the hell are they smoking? I don't know. They're not smoking the shit I am, that's for sure. But, like, this is my fucking point. I think it's shitty at the end of it that they ban me for 3 days. Now, I've had a previous situation where they did the exact same thing, except they banned me for 24 hours from posting on Facebook. Now, I get, I've probably done some dodgy shit over the years, and, most of it's... I think the last ban, and a long time ago, and these are the few bans which I think probably were true, because I was trolling people. I wasn't being violent, but I was... According to them, they got me for violence or reactions and stuff, violent reaction stuff or violent stuff and things like that. And basically, they tagged me for it, and they said that I was being violent, or violent or abusive or something like that. Now, at the end of it, with trolling can seem abusive on the surface, but in context of itself, it's not really abusive. It's just, it's testing people's limits and it's knowing people's limits. It's not just that. It's breaking it's psychologically breaking people down and working out what components in their, and how the components of their brain work and how the components of their mindset is in life. Like, I mean, fuck, I don't know. Look, it's kind of pissy. It's kind of annoying that I got banned. I got banned for 3 days. I got about, I think, how many days have I got left? To be honest, I've got other accounts, so I've been posting on those anyway. To the troll, and I was posting in a troll group, admittedly. One group wasn't a troll group. Some was run some of the random group. But the truth is, okay, firstly, I was tagged for nudity, and this is for man boobs, obviously, or whatever. Well, I'm just going to say man boobs because this just sounds funnier. The truth is, I was tagged for man boobs. But the irony is, if I go into one of the groups I was actually broadcasting into at the time, that group has fucking full-on pornography uploaded into the group on a regular basis, or linked across the web, and it fucking never gets tagged, it never gets reported, it never gets fucking owned, and it's just fucking sad. Like, what the fuck? All this shit can be around, all this pornography. Look, there was fucking videos on a couple other groups before some cunt was in his own fucking shit, for fuck's sake. I mean, what the fuck? Okay, that's one side of it too. And then there was another fucking group as well, where there's this random fucking, some woman's fucking a dog. I'm not joking. Well, I didn't see it myself, but apparently a few people in another group saw it, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is how diluted and fucking fucked up the system is on fucking Facebook, that they don't fucking care if you post porn on there, even if it's derogatory fucking fucked up shit. They don't fucking care if you post it. They don't fucking care. They care more about some fucking controversial bastard talking about the fact that the government occasionally are assholes and they need to be accountable for their actions. And, I'm an IT tech myself, and that's beside the point. I know that shit. And my point is, I always push the envelope. I'm always out with controversial subjects. I always fucking believe that everybody should have their say, no matter who they are. Unless it's completely crazy off the fucking rail shit, like some extremist shit of blowing some cunt up, then I understand not doing it. Alright? But, Jesus. Like, somebody expressing their opinion, and I'm pretty tame with the shit that I go on. There's worse people who get more extentful bans than I do on fucking Facebook. I know, because I've seen a few of the YouTube replies and stuff of people getting fucking tanked like that, and they pretty much get the middle finger from fucking Facebook. Now, I've got... How many days have I got? Okay, I've got... This is exactly what I got, so I'll show you. At the moment, I've got... I can get into it. There we go. I've got this at the moment. I've got exactly 1 day, 7 hours or more to go. So that's alright, that's fine. Okay. So I've got that to go. Now, just as I said, I don't fucking get it. I really don't. Like, I don't understand how fucking Facebook minds... how their mind works, because I pointed out to them... Firstly, I pointed out to them that the nudity in question that they were talking about wasn't there. My account got tagged for that, and it got tagged for a random fucking photo. And the photo that they showed me was basically me in a yellow pair of fucking shorts. Yellow pair of fucking shorts, mind you. And a fucking shirtless. And it's just the fact that I had my, I had my chest sewn and everything else and all that. I mean, okay, I'm a hairy motherfucker. But what? So, what, there's a fucking hair ban, is there now? Like, what the fuck? Seriously, I'm like a hairy cunt, so apparently I should be banned from fucking broadcasting my fucking chest. What the fuck is that shit? Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's kind of fucking retarded, and I don't get their mentality, because there's so much shit on Facebook that doesn't get banned. It doesn't get the fucking shit, like, not just banned, but so much fucking shit that doesn't get fucking tagged, simply because people, it's like, I like that, And just because I cause a little controversy, just because I have a go at people, because I don't have a go at people all the time. It's sometimes, I mean, I'll be honest, if somebody's going to troll me or try and fucking have a go at me, I'll have a fucking go at them, you know what I mean? And I don't have a problem doing that. I've never had a problem defending myself. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? It's just, I don't know. It's, oh my god, it's ridiculous, you know? It's fucking ridiculously stupid. I'm just like, well, what the hell? What is going on in their mindset? Firstly, that I need to be blocked. I get, you know, I get a bit drunk, I get a bit funny, but I mean, look, put it this way, I'm not sitting there exposing myself, you know, things like that. I mean, okay, there might have been a couple of times where my pants have fallen down or something, but I mean, you couldn't see much. That's my point. And the other side of, you know, the other side of it too is, I have a Pornhub for specifically things I want to do related to any pornish type of stuff or kinky type of stuff. I know I'm a perv. Well, I'm a bit of a perv. No, fuck, I am a perv. That's just simple as that. But just because I'm a perv doesn't mean, okay, firstly, doesn't mean that I don't have respect for people. It doesn't mean that I don't have respect for, whether it's respect for women, or respect for people's sexuality, or respect for people in general. That's my point. I'm not the type, well, I'm just not the type of guy who fucking, you know, does that. That's my point. I don't. I try to respect everybody for whoever they may be in certain situations, whether it's fucking, But, no, I mean, I wasn't taking offense to that, but my fucking point is, what fucking female has fucking chest hair? Seriously, tell me, what female has what female looks like a fucking baboon, cunt? Tell me that. Fucking please explain that shit. I'm far removed. I mean, I'm the hairiest motherfucker on the planet. There is enough hair here. If you were to shave me bald, there would be enough fucking hair to cover a small fucking Czechoslovakian fucking country. Seriously, so I'm telling you this much. I mean, I'm fucking bald on top of that. I'm fucking bald. I look like a fucking giant penis. Look at me. This is my fucking point. I mean, like, this is my point. I don't know how anybody could ever mistake me for being female. Alright? That's the first part of it. Okay, I talk a lot. That's true, but that's part of a YouTube personality point of view. Not just that, but I'm a highly intelligent person as well, you know? So that's part of it, you know? But this is my fucking point. What motherfucker looks like a fucking orangutan and is a woman? I've seen a few people. Actually, I've seen a couple of women who look like that, but no. I've never seen a woman with full over body fucking hair. Every fucking wear. And, you know, shit, and like fucking with a bald fucking head. Actually, that's not entirely true. I have seen a couple of feminists and lesbians. No, not lesbians. Feminists. No, feminazis. Feminazis. I've seen a few feminazis with really short haircuts. Who they look like they could be a man. I'm legitimately not joking there. But that's only a few of those I've seen online. And I haven't, and you don't see them all the time, that's the truth. But it's very rare for a woman to be hairy. Like, you know, the most you'll find, and this is even in most of the porn that you find online, is you'll find a hairy bush. But that's normally down in the lower section. I can understand. Actually, I think I get where you're coming from. I'll tell you the reason why. People can't see what you're saying because you're on Skype. But my point is, I can see what you're fucking talking about. The reason... Okay, I will be honest. The reason that I think... Like, what happens with some women is... and I know this... It's science, people. It's science. Menopause does cause those growth issues with beards. But I have never seen a fully menopausal fucking 40-year-old woman with a fucking beard like this. You know, I haven't seen one like... The day I see that is then when I go, fucking hell, what the hell, you know? Like, did you just cross your hormones or something? I mean, you know, that's my fucking point. Well, yeah, most 70s porn was all bush and hair, man. I mean, the amount of fucking hair in a 70s porno is astronomical. The last time I watched a 70s porno. Yes, there was a lot of hair. I mean, tons of hair. I mean, you could, like, braid it. It cracks me up. It's still funny. And this has come from a guy who watches a lot of fucking porn to start with, alright? I know I'm a porn junkie. But I'm telling you in all honesty, I've seen all different shapes and sizes of different people. And my god, I've never seen a woman so fucking hairy she's been mistaken literally for a man. Now, the only thing that might contradict that is, say there is some scientific examples that have been on the web. Say, for example, somebody who's an hermaphrodite, who's half man and half woman. There is actually some people out on the internet like that. There is actually women/men like that, or combinations of. They have both genitals. The thing is, they can't use both genitals at the same time. But the other side of it too is sometimes the other genital is not necessarily as functional. It's actually been scientifically proven there are people out there who actually have both genitals and can be hermaphrodites. You know, so yeah, it's possible. It's distinctly possible that there is somebody out there like that. But have I seen it myself? No. In all my years of trolling around the internet, not just trolling around the internet, but all my fucking years of running through the internet, the dark web, all the parts of that, I've seen all manner of different shit, disturbing shit. Whether it's somebody being killed, whether it's by a fucking train, or whether it's some other random ass fucking shit, or whether it's some random ass porn image of them. In the last fucking porn thing I saw, which this was on Facebook, mind you, it's a woman shoving a fucking Pepsi bottle up her vagina. That's the last fucking thing I saw. That's the last fucking thing I saw. Which I was kind of gobsmacked at that. Apparently she felt the need to refresh herself. Let's go for humour there. I don't know whether that worked out or not. It's just refreshing. Apparently drinking Pepsi for your vagina is a thing now. No, I'm kidding, but still, I just wanted to see if that joke would work. But, like, seriously, no. Like, as I said, that is the thing I think mostly that's got me and gobsmacked me, I guess, to a certain extent, is, so much these days it's gobsmacked me about how people, you know, we go on about internet censorship, we go on about all this other stuff, but yet Facebook has the right to turn around and ban free speech, technically. Because, I mean, okay, I wasn't necessarily talking about this stuff, the stuff I was talking about sex and stuff right then. I was talking about stuff, you know, conspiracy theories. I mean, look, I don't believe every single conspiracy theory you get on the net either. I don't believe all that stuff. I'm not going to say that it is all true. Some parts of it may have some truth to it. I do believe, alright, these are the things that I have believed, and the stuff that I've seen, articles that I come across myself, not just that, but tons of stuff, and I got the files, hacked files that I got years ago. I know for a fact, firstly, aliens have... There was a crash landing in Roswell, New Mexico, alright? There was a crash landing. It did happen. There was evidence of it. There was government cover-ups. There was classified files. There was a ton of stuff, and this is my point. I know it happened. So I believe, and this is my honest belief, is that every offshoot of technology we have, whether it be technological or computer-wise, has all been related to alien technology, and it's just us trying to mimic the alien technology as best we can with what we have. Because perhaps there's probably going to be materials in alien technology that we can't necessarily reproduce right now at this point in time. Now, this is my point. That's the type of stuff I talk about. Not just that, but I talk about corruption in government. I don't believe the entire government or governments are corrupt, but there are certain parts of governments. I mean, if fucking Donald Trump can get into a presidency, then that shows you something's corrupt. It shows you something has got fucked in the ass with a fucking cactus. That is what has happened, people. And that shows you how bad the government has got in the sense of how, you know, like, levels of corruption, and not just levels of corruption, but how far they're willing to take things, alright? And I don't care whether it's the US government, the Australian government, there's always corruption. There's always someone with a slush fund. There's always somebody doing something illicit. Now, I'm not going to say it's everybody who does that. There's good people who work for the government as well. There's good people, and they have good mindsets, and they have good morals and ethics. But oh my god, if fucking Donald Trump is any example of somebody who's in government, who's the most immoral cunt you'll ever meet, then that's my fucking point. How immoral and how unethical is he? And my point is, I've seen plenty of other people who are just the opposite, you know? And my point is, I don't believe that government is bad. I just believe some parts of it are. And there's a lot of corruption. I mean, reading back, the ATO, right? The ATO, the Australian Taxation Office. How big fucking... Like, there was a big thing where apparently the son of the ATO officer in question, the guy in question, the CEO, the guy in charge, was laundering money for tons of businesses. Not just tons of businesses, but laundering money and buying luxury cars and boats and... Oh my god, like, what the fuck? You know, at the end of it, but the other side of it too is I reckon there's still more cheats in there who get away with a lot of shit when it comes to the ATO. I mean, I don't know, tax systems are sort of a bit fucked in my mind because, you know, the way they are in general, they're a little bit dodgy in the way they treat you. You know what I mean? And not just that, but I mean at the end of it, you know, I don't know. I get that the government does need money for a certain degree of things. I understand that. I get that point of view. But there's some things I think, what the fuck, you know? Fucking hell, what the fuck? Seriously, especially when it comes to the idea. But my point is, I was reading this article a while back, and I looked and went, okay. So, let me see. You got the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office. And there's cunts in there, the biggest CEO and everything else. He's spending all the well, he's not his, but his son's spending all the fucking money. He's spending all the money at guns, everything. Oh my god, I have to find the article, but I will find the article and I'll actually report it back. My point is, that article was there a while back, and I am yet to explain. I mean, we live in a world where the Australian Taxation Office, the place in charge of all the publicly allocated money, has that level of corruption. Please explain. It doesn't make sense to me, because we shouldn't be that bad. Things shouldn't be that bad, alright? And I'm not going to say, and I'm not going to turn around and say that I know everything, because I don't. But I'll tell you one thing, I know that we do have parts of the system that are corrupt. And we do have politicians that can be paid off. And sometimes people simply get paid off. This is my point. Some people become tired with having to deal with stuff, so they just like, look, pass me a few bucks, and I'll let you. I'll let you through. I'll let you pass. You know what I mean? I'll give you a pass on it, basically. And that's the truth. It happens all the time. People get paid off, whether it's and money is a big factor because greed is always a big factor. I'm sorry, but it always has been that way. You know, and I'm not hating society for being that way, but money has always been a thing that you grease the right palms, you get the right response. You know what I mean? And that's how the system works. I'm not going to say it always works that way because there's some people who I would say just always follow the rules and always will. But the other side of it too is you're going to have those people where, I mean, I don't know, there's probably situations where some of those people have ended up dead simply because they've wanted to play by the rules. I think it's good to play by the rules. I also think there's situations where, say for example, there's a situation where somebody's been really wronged. They should get a pass in certain situations if they've been morally and ethically wronged. I actually think that's okay. And I'll give you some of those examples out of Hollywood movies and certain TV shows and stuff. I think there's certain situations where you've had somebody who's been in a situation and it was because of a corrupt person that they ended up in that situation. But officially, if you went all through all the channels and all the red tape and stuff, they wouldn't be able to get half the things that they got out of that situation. But they got it because somebody decided, I'm going to bend the rules, but I'm only going to bend them enough that it doesn't actually cause and effect. It's not going to, you know, I mean, it's not like being corrupt. So, I mean, at the end of it, you know, corruption or criminal activity in context, you know, as I said, it all works in different ways, and that's my point. It always has. Unfortunately, we live in a society where those lines can occasionally get blurred. I'm not going to say that, you know, I proclaim to know everything, but I do talk about all of these subjects, and sometimes I'll get a bit drunk or whatever. Well, no, you know, I have a few wines. You know, let's be honest, I get a bit drunk every so often. I like to have fun when I get drunk, obviously. But the other thing, too, is, you know, I like talking about a lot of the stuff I talk about, okay? The subjects are controversial. I realise this. A lot of this stuff is, it's relevant. It's not just relevant, but it's actually stuff that's decent. And my point is, I shouldn't feel bad. Like, for me, pointing out the true factors of what the world can be like sometimes, and being, you know, just being honest. That's the truth. I'm being honest, you know. I get my fucking ass handed to me with a fucking ban. Like, how the fuck does that work? How the fuck does that work at all? I'm sorry, but I shouldn't have to feel that I should get banned simply because of the fact that I'm telling the truth. And that's pretty much what it's down to. It's me telling the truth. It's me being honest about stuff. It's me, you know, trying to, fuck. That's my fucking point. I'm sorry, but Jesus. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know. Anyway, that was my rant, but that was pretty much my whole entire fucking rant when it comes to fucking... Particularly when it comes to fucking Facebook and their free speech factor. Their free speech has just become a joke in the sense of how it's treated these days. It's a bit better, but oh, look, I don't know. I try to have freedom of... I believe in freedom of expression. Aside from believing in freedom of expression... Anyway. My point is, freedom of expression anyway, alright? That's my point. And I think everybody's entitled to it. I don't think anybody is not. Now, I think the last stream that I ended up doing on Facebook, I actually showed people that I ordered a bunch of these. Well, actually, I was only really looking for one, but it was at 23 bucks for 6 of them, so I thought, fuck it, I'll just buy 6 of them. But this is quite nice. I am Sherlock Holmes. Indeed, and it's not too bad for smoking out of either. I have been quite impressed with how what it's like to smoke out of. I had this one. I've been using this pipe for a while to actually smoke out of, and I know smoking's a bad habit, but put it this way, I don't do it all the time, and I mean, for me, it's a therapeutic thing. Because of my mental issues, I'll be honest, smoking for me is a therapeutic thing. Always has been. It's mostly to do with that. And you know what? Some people will turn around and say, well, smoking's bad for you, you know, you shouldn't do it. But the truth is, most people with mental illnesses in some form at some point end up smoking because it is a therapeutic thing for them. It takes focus on whether they're stressed or whether they're worried or whether there's something else to deal with. Now, I'm not gonna condone, you know, like heavy drugs, say for example like fucking meth or ice or heroin and things like that, and that crap. I'm not gonna condone that. But I think if somebody wants to take whether it's a prescription medicine or something a little more, you know, to a certain extent, not necessarily legal, but sort of legal, I don't have a problem with that. I honestly don't, and I never have had a problem with that. What I do have a problem, though, with is, I guess, to a certain extent, that when, say, for example, the heavier drugs like your meth and you know, your cocaine, all that type of stuff. That stuff I don't see it as a positive because it does a lot of damage to families. It does a lot of damage to people. I've seen the amount of damage it can do, and the worst thing that you'll ever get out of having a bit of or smoking a bit of a herbal remedy is probably the fact that you'll just eat the fridge out. It's about the worst thing, really. This is herbal too, by the way. Well, what is in here is actual herbal. So that's what is it? It's they call it wild lettuce. It's actually it's not illegal or anything. It's wild lettuce. They call it. It's like a mild opiate, but it's good for So what is good for relaxing you, but not just that. It's just going to be good for pain too, depending on how you're feeling. It was somebody who has to deal with pain on a daily basis because of my. Well, I'll be honest. It's not just mental conditions that I have. I have had joint pain for years in my bones, and to this day, I'm going to say it's probably most likely juvenile arthritis. I've never probably really had it diagnosed. Wild lettuce, anyway. That's the actual name of it. Hold on a second. I'll show you what it actually looks like. The actual bottle of it. Where is it? This is what it looks like. It's stuff you put in a vaporizer, basically. That is it, right there. That is what it is. It's wild lettuce, and I put that and I mix it with a bunch of other oils, which are tobacco-based oils, nicotine-based oils. These aren't too bad. I'll be honest, I probably tend to vaporize more because it's better for your health than smoking. Smoking or ashing something can actually be more toxic in that sense, so it's probably better off. Like, it's been proven that this is better for your lungs than this is, which is actually true. Like, doing this is actually a lot better for your lungs. Like, I mean, it's the context. Anything in moderation. Anything in moderation. I mean, I've always been of the purest belief, right, that anything in moderation is okay. It's when you start doing it to excess that the problems start and the issues start, you know? The other side of it too is, you know, probably sometimes I've done some things to excess. The only thing is I've only ever done it in a one-day period. Like, okay, what I consider to be an alcoholic is someone who doesn't stop drinking at all. You drink 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's what an alcoholic, or my definition of an alcoholic, is. I consider people who drink on a regular basis, you know, when you might go down to the pub after work or something and have a couple of wines or a couple of beers. That's not alcoholism. I'm sorry, that's not. Alcoholism is not being able to step away from alcohol. Is not being able to not just that, but you know, having to have a dose in your system so regularly that you can't even take a day or two break. That is a problem. That is an alcoholic issue. That in context is, yeah, that's pretty much how my mind works with that. And you know what? A certain degree of therapists and people in that situation would totally agree that if you can't step away from it at all, if you're constantly having it and you need a dose in your system all the freaking time and you can't take a break from it, like whether it's a few days or whatever, then clearly you do have a problem or a substance abuse issue. That's distinctly possible. As I said, I've seen some people. I mean, I could probably pull up a dozen examples of people who drink themselves silly. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's probably a ton actually. I have to take my meds at some point anyway. But my point is, that's what I consider to be an alcoholic. I also consider somebody that has to smoke. I mean, look, put it this way: I don't smoke all the time. Sometimes I'll take a 2 or 3 day break from smoking a pipe or whatever, or, smoking a cigarette. Or, I mean, I haven't smoked cigarettes for a long time. I don't prefer. I honestly think cigarettes are generally more toxic because there's more added chemicals. There's actually more chemicals inherently in them. If you smoke straight tobacco out of a pipe or things of that nature, it's actually better for your health in the sense that it's not as toxic or not as bad in some ways. I mean, still, this is probably not the best thing to do, and I don't condone it. That's the honest truth. I don't condone it. I'm not going to sit there and condone and say start smoking. But for some people, it helps to handle their situation and their stresses in life. You know what? And I won't condone or condemn people for doing it. And that's the honest truth. You know what I mean? I've never been the type of person who condemns a smoker just because they smoke. Sometimes it's a therapeutic thing. It's a way of them dealing with their problems too. That can be something down to it as well. But I won't criticise people for it. You know why? Because I've seen plenty of people who are smokers and they're perfectly nice, wonderful people. At the end of it, you can be a smoker and still be a good person. You can also be a non-smoker and be an absolute arsehole. You can also be a smoker and still be an arsehole. But that comes down to individual personality. Some people are just assholes. Like, some people are just literally, they're assholes, they're fuckwits, or they're bitches. This is my point. It comes down to personality type and who you are as a person. At the end of it, you can smoke and drink and take drugs, whatever, and it's not necessarily those things that affect how you function. It's who you are as a person and what your personality reveals about yourself. You can be, well, this is my point, you can be a fucking asshole, and you can still not drink, smoke, and you can be the most fucking, you can treat your body like a fucking temple, but you can still be an asshole. It could be, maybe. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Hold on a second. Let me just, because I probably have to hear what it actually sounds like to see exactly what it is. I think I do need to reinstall. It could be, maybe. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Hold on a second. Let me just, because I probably have to hear it over there. It sounds relatively clear to me. I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. I'd probably have to listen to it on my headphones to actually get more of an impression. Hold on a second. I mean, if there is a crackle, I have been getting that occasionally with my mic. I don't know what it is, but I think it's software. And I'll be honest, most of the time it's Windows 10 that's a fucking issue. Every fucking time that I get a problem with my streaming, it's Windows 10. Windows 10 can suck a rancid donkey dick for all I fucking care, because I get pissed off with the shit that I have to deal with on a daily basis when it fucking dies in the arse. Especially when I'm doing certain things that I would, well, it's like I want to have some fun today. I want to fucking stream. Oh, Windows 10's being a fucking bitch. Alright, hold on a second. Let me just listen to this. When it fucking dies in the arse. Especially when I'm doing certain things that I would, yeah, no, I don't really hear much of, oh, Windows 10's being a fucking bitch. No, it sounds clear as a bell on my end. Could be, because I retuned everything and I had to reinstall... I had to reinstall some of my software because it was being a pain in the arse. I have had occasional problems. This is my fucking point. I've only just now sort of got things set up properly, and half the time, sometimes it'll work, and then other times it'll just take a complete fucking shit on itself and not work properly. Actually, hold on a moment while I just kill, because I need to kill my torrent, because that's another thing too that most people do. If you do have torrent software open, sometimes people will target you through that torrent software, and what they'll actually do is they'll target you specifically, and they might be trying to DOS attack you and like hit your internet pretty heavily. And the thing is, if you've got that port open, you're fucked, pretty much. Especially these days. So, hence the reason, when I do start streaming or anything like that, I like to close those type of ports. Not all of them. I mean, there's some that I leave open, obviously, because I need to leave them open. But there's some ports that I close as well, because I know fucking how often people do that shit. And I do know how often people like to DOS or DDoS attack people, At the end of it, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can do it through an actual piece of software that's just mostly scripted, and you use a botnet, right? And the other side of it too is you can do it the other opposite way, which is, okay, so you've got the botnet. That's one way of doing it. You can do it individually, like using your own computer to do the actual attack. But this is my point. It depends on the person, I guess. It depends on the other side of it too. Is you can pay to have it done too. You can what you normally do is make it untraceable. Is you go to normally a site on the dark web, and you can pay a certain amount of money, and you convert that into bitcoins, and bitcoins being untraceable, then you won't get tagged for it. But I don't know. I think DDoS attacking is a little fucking childish and immature, because I mean, okay, you take somebody offline, it does a certain amount of damage, but you know what? The most damage you can do to someone in the long run is social networking can be used as a very efficient weapon. The thing is, you just got to use it right. It's a question of manipulating the right people in the right situations, of course. But yeah, that's just something I feel anyway. But yeah, I probably will replug my mic anyway. Maybe I don't know whether I can do. See, I don't know whether if I do it now and I unplug it, it's gonna fucking be in the middle of things, whether it'll fuck something up. Let me try. Let's see. It could simply be the server on your side too. I mean, depends on what internet connection you're running as well. So I was actually I've been watching a couple of videos on trollers and people who do troll. And they troll, but they troll for legitimate reasons to stop bullies and people who are intimidating assholes. And I think that's a positive thing. Like, doing something like that is actually good. Trolling for that purpose actually makes more sense in the long run. So yeah. But no, as I said, fucking, I don't know, Facebook still shits me to this day. Like, fucking hell, It's like fucking, free speech. What free speech? I mean, this is my point. I don't get why they've taken away so much of that shit. Like, they've taken away so much of that fucking freedom of speech and a lot of that stuff, Like, I don't get it. I really don't. And I'm yet to understand how, in the long run, fucking truthfully, how they can just, place a ban hammer on, Well, look, it's. I mean, okay, I got banned. I've been banned, not banned, but I've been blocked from posting stuff on Facebook sometimes because there's a couple of times I know I've got a bit drunk and I've had a few other things as well. I smoked a bit and stuff, and I've probably become a bit of a trollish arsehole, but not that bad. I mean, I was like, I was bad, but not that bad. I mean, worse things I could have done anyway. But my point is, there's worse shit on Facebook. I mean, fucking hell, when there's porn videos being uploaded to some fucking groups in Facebook, then clearly something has gone wrong with the system. And I get banned because apparently, well, according to me drinking a glass of wine shirtless on fucking streaming on Facebook is apparently considered nudity. I didn't know man boobs were considered nudity. I mean, I don't think these are actually that bad, I know women with bigger tits. That's my point. My boobs are not that big. They're fucking hairy. I look like a fucking orangutan. This is my fucking point. Like, seriously? Well, what the fuck? Okay, so I get banned for that reason, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, I'm kind of shitty over that, because it's like, well, okay, what in the fucking world possesses them to ban someone because apparently it's like, oh, fucking, apparently men boobs are nudity now. Fucking cunts. Sorry, it as I said, it just makes me scratch my head, in all honesty. And it kind of, not just that, but it kind of makes me think we're living in a society where political correctness has gone so fucking mad that we literally feel the need, fucking need to fucking accommodate to the lowest little whinging bitch. That's the truth. Like, who fucking cares? If you're offended, scroll on. Just don't give a fuck about it. Most of the time, I don't give a fuck about most shit. I just act like I do because, most people expect an angry reaction out of me in some cases because I'm a rant guy, I've been known to go on rants about different subjects. I've been known to go off my nut and, fucking... But look, the other thing is, I've been trolling for years. I've been trolling for fucking years. I've been doing this for years. There's legitimate stuff through my channel, that, like, do my tech stuff and everything else. But I use heaps of fake accounts all the time to fucking troll. I've been trolling for a ton of years. And I've enjoyed it so much when I do it because it tests your own psychological limits and also tests the people that you're trolling. Other side of it, too, is I never end up telling people it was a fucking joke to start with, but... Yeah, alright, no problem, man. All good. All good, man. All good. But yeah, this is my point. I do believe that Facebook hate free speech, and they pretty much, they fucking loathe it. They loathe the factor of free speech. They don't want it. It's nothing that they want singly, you know. And the truth is, it's kind of sad that we've got to that point that, you know, things have to be censored that badly. I don't think, I think censorship in context is a bad thing, because there's some times where we have to face human nature, or we have to face the fact that things happen, you know. Unfortunate stuff happens, things happen, you know, and that's the point I'm trying to make. We have to face that fact. Like I said, I just don't get it. I don't get the bullshit that comes through, particularly with, you know, fucking, particularly with these fucking groups. I mean, I've seen some groups on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, firstly, you're getting away with murder practically in some ways, in the sense of, like, verbally, like, just the stuff that's said, things, you know, a lot of that stuff isn't censored. I mean, I've never been censored about things that I've said, but the other side of it too is I can always offer a logical and smart argument, and I always try to fact check my information before I go posting or typing anything. That's another thing I do. And I don't go around posting facts that aren't true. That's my other thing too. I always post the true facts. Now, I'm getting tagged because apparently I'm being too honest, which I think is the honest extent that I thought things were going to. And that's the kind of shit that I see, you know, especially on fucking Facebook. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm against terrorism. I'm against all the other stuff that's happening. I know there's negative shit that happens in the world. I know it does. It happens. It ultimately happens. But I think to some degree we have to face a certain degree of things that happens, whether it's violent reactions or whether it's things that happen in general. We have to face those things. Otherwise, we don't grow as a species. We don't. That's the ultimate truth. We don't grow. We don't fucking find ourselves. We fall over ourselves and we make the same fucking mistakes over and over again until, you know, it's like a vicious fucking repeating cycle of shit. And that's the truth. Now, I will be honest. I'm not going to say that I'm right about everything, because I'm not. There's going to be stuff that I'm going to attribute to me being wrong, because I've made mistakes. I've done some stupid things. Arguably, I've probably done it more when I've had a couple of drinks. No argument there. But I'm not completely immoral. I'm not completely unethical either. I have a certain standard of things that I do. And, you know, that standard has always been the way I've treated things in my life. It's always been the way I've done things. And I've never tried to live by anybody else's standards. I've mostly tried to live by my own. And, you know, I have certain rules in certain situations. I have certain things that I like to do, and certain things that, you know, I mean, look, the other thing I try to do is I try not to be too judgmental if I can help it. I don't judge people too harshly most of the time. There's other situations where I might... There are certain situations where I've turned around and I've looked at people and I've thought, okay, firstly, you deserve to be judged because you're being an arsehole or a douche. That's the only time that I will ever fucking get on someone's back, is when they're being an arsehole and a douche about something, or an arse fucker, you know, complete arsehole, just, you know, like there's just probably they're trying to be king of the arseholes, is when I turn around and say, fuck it, nobody else is going to stand up for the lower end of things, especially because I'm a nerdy person to start with. And that's the thing. I'd rather stand up for something. I'd rather fight fucking... I'd rather die fighting than not having any fight in me at all. Or not have anything controversial or anything to say against it. Well, whether it's the government or whether it's something else in life. I will fight for people's rights. I fight for the people who are on the lower spectrum of things, people who don't have a lot of education. I also fight for people that I think deserve it because they're good people, they have good hearts, they have a good mindset on things, alright? And those types of people are the people that deserve a voice, you know what I mean? They deserve a voice, and they deserve to have things. Well, not just have things, but they deserve to have the same rights as everybody else, you know? And at the end of it, you know, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, I think it's entitled. People are entitled to that. And YouTube has always been a good creative outlet for expressing yourself, but not just that, but giving the arts forward, you know, and artistic stuff I love. I respect art. I respect an artist who can put together a Mona Lisa, you know? This is my point, because I don't just respect the artist, but I respect the work that went into it, whether it's hours of work doing something, or whether it's finding that specific thing that gives them creative inspiration. Because with an artist, it comes down to that. You have to be able to be creatively expressive, but you need to have your muse at the same time. You cannot fucking simply turn around and say, oh, well, you know, fuck, I've got, you know, there's just nothing that does it for me. But that's the truth. I mean, look at every piece of content on YouTube. It's all has its own creative style, its own outlook, its own methodology, plan, ideas. It has all that shit built into it. And I'm somebody who sees that shit. I examine that shit under a microscope because sometimes it helps me with my own channel as well. But I also see people who, you know, they take a simple format, but the simple format that they're using works. It works for them. It works for their level of creativity, and it works, you know, for them as a channel because it's just how it is, you know. But I'm not going to criticize and turn around and say that, you know, well, I'll criticize certain people because I think they deserve it. It's in the context of justice, you know, there's some people who can get away with a lot of shit, you know. They get away with a lot of things. They get away with the fact that, you know, they've been doing certain things for years and nobody ever knew about them. They get away with the fact that, you know, they're, well, not just abusive, but like they get away with the fact that they have a pure essence of racism, or they're generally arseholes to anybody who's gay, lesbian, or trans, or whatever. This is my point. You know, there's a lot of shit that goes on there. And the truth of the situation is that what I've learned so far in my life, I guess in the long run, is that, you know, fuck, that's the things that I've learned, you know. Fucking Facebook hates free speech and always will hate free speech. And when it comes to, well, sorry, always will is sort of a bit strong. I'm probably just quoting that because I'm kind of pissed with them at the moment. But like the freedom of speech thing with Facebook has mostly been an issue with them. Like, okay, put it this way: they're very picky with how they deal with things. They're picky about, okay, firstly, they're picky about the subjects that they try to edit or get rid of, sort of thing. It can either be the fact that they'll let every fucking thing through, or every fucking certain degree of things through, or they'll fucking, they'll let a certain degree of stuff through. So, say, for example, a full fucking page of porn, which, you know, ironically I find interesting because I don't think Facebook is necessarily the outlet for porn. Certain adult groups, I get that, of course, but, you know, the other side of it too is there is Pornhub. Like, I don't know, I use Pornhub anyway, that's not the fucking point. My point is, or the point that I'm trying to make is that, you know, there is an avenue for everything. There always has been an avenue for everything. And I think what gets me the most with some of these people, whoever's deciding to tag things or do specific things, they're a bit biased. They could be a bit biased, and it's distinctly possible because the amount of mental illness has risen so dramatically these days that there's going to be certain people. I think I was saying it the other night. It's down to interpretation. It's somebody's interpretation versus their outlook, and maybe if they're biased against particular things. So it's the same context with the Bible, right? Bible's down to interpretation. If somebody interprets the Bible that they have to go and blow someone up or stab them, then that's how they interpret it, right? If it's the opposite way, and this is the subject I was actually covering the other night, sort of, and I think that's probably the reason that I eventually got into it, because I was covering that subject. My point is, that subject, right? Well, sorry, alright, no problem, no. The interpretation that individuals have, alright, of anything, whether it's religious scripts or otherwise, is down to that person and their attitude towards things and how they perceive the world. If they interpret something the wrong way, it's because they've misunderstood what the intention of that particular item in question was, or their ultimate understanding of what they've read is fucking jaded or one-sided. That's one thing to look at. And the problem is, it doesn't matter. This is my point. This is the reason we do have extremists, and we do have this stuff that happens. Because we have people who have interpreted things too literally. Like, you used it. Because, I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I'm going to say it. And anybody who argues with me, you know, that's their choice. But I'm telling you, the Bible is a work of fiction. It purely is. It has some base facts, and it has some good points, but it's one big story. It's one big story that explains how the universe came to be, supposedly. And not just that, but there was a savior born, you know. It's basically, it's a story. It's a story. It always has been a story. It has some good elements that I believe could help humanity and can contribute and make humanity better. But I also think that if you get the wrong person reading it and the wrong person interpreting it in the first place, fuck. Trust me, you will get the case of extremism, which, you know, of course is, say for example, you know, Muslims blowing something up or something. I mean, it's not, that's the thing, it's not always Muslims. This is my point. Muslims are not just the people who blow shit up. It's other people who do it. And, you know, sometimes it can be related to their mental health. Sometimes it can be related to other issues, you know, seeing the crap that goes on in society and the negativity that's received by society. Sometimes it can be a lot for people to handle mentally. That's another thing too. Most people don't realise that. But the key point is to be strong enough to be able to stand up against it and find positive things in the world when you need to find positive things. I have my good and my bad days. I'm a pretty balanced individual considering that I have some mental issues, right? And, you know, I balance myself particularly well with how I perceive things, how I see the world. And, you know, I'm going to have those days where it's just like, fuck it, I don't give a shit, fuck off, leave me the fuck alone. I want to be an antisocial hermit today. And I'm going to have those days. And you know what? I think I'm entitled to those days. I don't have those days all the time, but I do have them from time to time. What are we after? I'll go to Twitch anyway. I'll just go to Twitch because I want to check Twitch. But, I mean, this is my point. This is the point that I'm trying to make. I think, as a society, we have to acknowledge that we are not perfect, you know? And the problem is that we have a lot of perfectionists out there. People who assume they're perfect, or they assume that everything is perfect in the world. Just sunshine, lollipops, and rainbow, la 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 la. And that's not all those, right? I'm sorry, people, but if you really believe that, then you're fucking deluded. The world, just sunshine. I mean, the world has some good points, and it has some good human beings in it. You will get no argument from me. I will be honest. There's certain parts of the world I love. And there's certain parts of the world I've been to. There's certain parts of the world that I've experienced firsthand, you know. And there's certain parts of the world that I have, certain parts of the internet I've experienced firsthand that I just don't fucking like either. This is like the same in the context of the world, too. But Jesus Christ, this is my point that I think most people don't seem to acknowledge at the time. Everything that we do in life is down to perception, and it's down to interpretation. Perception, interpretation. And I will just keep on repeating those words until it sticks in everybody's head. But my point is, it's perception. It's a perception of the person reading, whether it be a text or whatever, and it's the, you know, interpretation at the end that they conclude once they finish reading. So if you think about that, it just makes sense. It's logical. It's smart and intelligent. You know, and yeah, just making that point anyway. But you know, I'm far from perfect myself, so you know what? I'm not going to claim to be, you know, a messiah. I'm not going to claim to be a fucking, you know, leader. But I do know. When I talk about a subject, I try to be as accurate as I possibly can. So yeah, but yeah, this is all turning into a Facebook rant. Well, it started out that way, and now I'm just going on about a bunch of subjects, to be honest. But you know, either way. Oh my god, tattoos. I love tattoos. I actually really need to get a tattoo. I'm considering getting a tattoo at this point. I mean, the first thing, as I said, I'm working towards getting my license at the moment. That's the main reason I don't. Another reason I probably don't get out of the house a lot is because I have access to a car, but I don't have the ability to drive at the moment because I haven't got my license to be able to do that. Once I do have my license, though, I will be going on some nice drives, and I will take people along with me, and I'll do some live streaming while I'm doing that, obviously. I don't know where I'll end up. Knowing me, I'll either end up in a nice restaurant having some food, or could be the likelihood I could end up at a few PC stores in between that. And maybe a few places around Canberra, too. Just go for a drive for the hell of it. Let's just drive around Canberra, for fuck's sake. So let's just drive, bitch. Drive, motherfucker. I will say though, there are times where I'm negative, and I admit that I have bad moods, and I paint people, you know, well, not paint people, but I feel like I feel negative towards people, and that's probably going to be a situation that's probably not going to rectify itself too much in my life. It's always going to be sometimes where I feel negative or I feel in a bad mood and I can't deal with certain people. Now, there's some people I can deal with on a regular basis. You know, my family has always been pretty good that way. You know, they're around me, they love me, they support me. You know, all that stuff. My family's been great. They're good that way. But the other side of it too is there's always going to be the occasional person who causes controversy. But see, I don't know. My family's the total opposite. My family doesn't really do confrontation. It's not a thing we've done. I know there's some families that they're always in some type of conflict, or you know, argument or debate or something, and there's always they're always doing that. That's the entire model for their family. That's the entire basis of their family system. And I'll be honest, that's never been my family's way of looking at things or my family's way of doing things. It never has, and it never will be. That's my point. But I've concluded that there are some of those people that I've come across in my life which are always going to be that way. They're always going to have something that's causing a problem or issue or whatever, you know. Well, yeah, that's entirely my point. So yeah. Don't get me wrong, though. I love my family. I don't hate them. I mean, I love them. It's a love-hate thing. Which, in some cases, not everything, though. I mean, I think it's just sometimes that we, you know, anybody in life, you can have a difference of opinion, you know. You can either agree to disagree sort of thing, you know. Which is my attitude towards things. But I also think there's people out there in life who will try to destroy you just because your opinion is different to theirs. I'll say, oh no, fuck no, well, you know, and all they care about is destroying you because your opinion is different, and that's all they care about. I'll be honest. I've had some situations where that's been the case myself, but I don't feel that way all the time, to be honest. Is that? I don't know. I probably need to change the shirt. That's alright. That's what I might do. I'm gonna get coffee as well. Oh, shit. Oh, there's a shirt. That'll do. That'll do. Perfectly, actually. That'd be nice. Coffee cup wouldn't go Australia, do you think? I think anyway. That's the only thing I hate. I really have to pick different conditions. Mind you, I think I don't know. I know what that's called. Probably the last time I burnt my shirt. I've had it a couple of times. With smoking, you do occasionally burn things. Not all the time. Need you know what I need at this point? I'm gonna need something. No, I need to check the mail. That's it. Mine was a bit blank for a couple of seconds there, but then I worked it out. What time is it? It's 3:57 p.m. Oh. Alright, the mail normally comes after 2 o'clock, so I normally don't check the letterbox till then, in most cases, so I will be right back. our griller, or sorry, our stovetop, because we've got a stovetop in the kitchen, it has decided to break down. Unfortunately, just a side effect, I guess. I mean, we use it, that's my point, we use it pretty regularly, so I sort of understand why it broke down. Well, I mean, I know with use anything breakdowns eventually, but I mean, I don't know how often it was used beforehand when we were renting this place, so, you know, who's to say? Who's to say with any certainty that it might have been the fact that it was the time and it just didn't want to work. Oh, sorry, it was its time and it just decided to die, especially with electronics these days. Testing, I just want to make sure my stuff is working properly. So testing. Just make sure we're working. Yes, there we go. Just I always do that beforehand anyway. So yeah. Hello, how are you? Let me see here. Let's see. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, my point is, well, my earlier rant started when I was pretty much saying Facebook hates free speech. The other night I had a couple of wines. I was relaxing after work because I've been doing a bunch of social media stuff all day, sort of thing. And ironically of that, and the truth is, they banned me, which was pretty much the whole. Well, I mean, if you look at the back of the beginning of the stream, that's pretty much what my entire thing was. They banned me for simply being shirtless. Now I know I have man boobs. I realise this. I'm well aware of this fact. But I don't think I should be banned off Facebook. Well, okay. Firstly, I don't believe it was that. I believe it was a bullshit thing, and they were just because of the fact I was talking about controversial subjects and I was going on about stuff like that. They didn't like that fact, and I think that was the main reason that I probably ended up getting banned. I wasn't actually posting directly to my Facebook page. That's the other thing too. I was posting indirectly to it. I was posting into groups, private groups, and some of the groups I like around with. One was a trolling group, which I'm seeing a couple of people in there reported me, and they're cunts for doing that. Yeah, fuck themselves, to be honest. But yeah, but I already knew that when you go into a trolling group, everybody's a cunt in the trolling group. That's the thing. They're all Aussies too. So, but yeah, okay. My point is that anyway, my inherent point that I'm trying to make is that I got banned, and according to them, it was nudity. But what I was sitting there shirtless, drinking some wine, enjoying myself, and having some fun, and people were trolling me a bit on the Facebook video stream, and I was being a smart ass. So I was, you know, telling them to fuck off, pre-combination of stuff like that. So I was just being a smartass at the time. I was relaxing. I was enjoying myself, and I do that sometimes when I'm in the right mood. And I'm not always doing legitimate. I'm not always doing streaming where I'm doing other stuff anyway. But I don't do that so much on YouTube, or I don't do it so much on YouTube or Twitch, because I know there's a bit more regulation with certain things. I understand that, so that's the reason I don't tend to do it as much on Twitch or do it as much on YouTube. I tend to make that a rule. But I do like doing it on Facebook. But Facebook, it's sort of linked into my personal Facebook anyway, initially, and the other side of it too is I have a couple of dud accounts. I mean, I have dud accounts where I used to do trolling as well for years. The other side of it too is it's just such a cross-reference between things. Like, anyway, they banned me for 3 days from posting anything on Facebook. So pretty much for 3 days, I can look at everything, I can't comment on it, I can't like it, and I can't do a bunch of other stuff. So I think I got 1 day, 7 hours to go, according to the ban that I had, or the blockage that I have. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck, thank you very much. And then I went into a whole bunch of YouTube videos, and I went on YouTube to find out if people were having the same problem of getting banned for stupid shit. See, there was another time that I got banned from posting on Facebook as well, but this was because somebody reported a picture of me on my Facebook shirtless. Now, firstly, okay, which I've had people say, it's like, but man, they might think you're a woman. What fucking woman has enough chest hair to sink a small fucking battleship? Tell me that. I have not seen a woman that fucking hairy. I've seen women hairy under the armpits. I ain't seen no fucking woman with a fucking beard, and I ain't seen no fucking woman with a fucking hairy chest like an orangutan. Like, seriously, what the fuck? Facebook, like, that's kind of, the irony of that. The other thing, too, from a legal standpoint, I could say they're discriminating against somebody who's overweight, technically speaking, because I can't really help that because it's part of my medications. So, technically, from a legal standpoint, I could probably sue them for actually calling me fat. Like, I mean, if you really wanted to be technical about it, like, you could actually turn around and say, it's like, well, okay, it's pretty much, Facebook making a fat joke about me, which is kind of, I say fuck you, Facebook, because I've got it on other avenues anyway. Anyway, I'm going to go get my coffee. I will be right back. what? You know what? I love these cappuccino machines. The only thing I hate about the cappuccino machines is when the fact that you forget you have the old cap in there and you try to use the old cap to make yourself a new cup of coffee. Ironically, that's just fucking stupid. But I did do that. I feel proud of myself. Laugh if you don't laugh, you're fucking crying. Stay. Have mental issues. What the fuck do you expect? Occasionally I'm gonna fuck up. Fruitcake. Just like me. Fruitcake. Nut cake. Nut. Nut. Nuts. Fruit nuts. Need more coffee in this one. Rice. That's kind of all I need to fix that. Now, what clean your secrets? I read this secret. Blood streamer! Let red wine. Not even having red wine, that's the surprising part. Maybe I need to get drunk, that can be fun. Cheeto. All my dreams come true. No, you're a cheeky. You're a cheeky. You're a cheeky little shit. So don't lock me in the fucking head. I think you're a cheeky shit. Anyway, yes, that's my name. That's my name, but wear it out. Because birds couldn't afford a new one. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh shit. Facebook mods did their dicks. I'll actually sort of have to agree with you on that one. So with some people I've come across. I'm not saying all Facebook mods are assholes, but there's a good percentage of them that I've come across. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you smoking? Obviously they're not smoking what I'm smoking. Clearly. Because they'd probably be a lot more relaxed. Oh, shit. But no. Anyway, my point is, it's not just the mods. It's Facebook too, man. I looked through a bunch of YouTube videos on the subject of why people get banned on Facebook. And there's a ton of videos. Decent YouTubers that have a lot more subscribers than I do, who are having the same fucking problem. Exactly the same fucking issue. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, the exact same fucking issue. Anyway, by the way, if people don't remember from the last stream that I did a while back, I was going to get myself some pipe, or a pipe, to smoke out of. So this pipe is just one of them. Looking for those Sherlock Holmes. Indeed. It's quite good. I've actually already tested it. But, as you remember, I paid $23. And I added like $10 shipping or something. So I was like, fuck it, let's see. So at the end of it, I paid $23. And I thought I was just paying it for one pipe sort of thing. That's what I assumed. Well, I didn't assume. I knew there was, supposedly I might be getting 6. But anyway, I opened up the box. I'm going to resell these on eBay anyway. I got 6 of the cunts, which is good for $23 considering, and they're pretty nice pipes. I mean, they're really, really well designed. I smoked out of one, and I was quite impressed with how much smoke I got out of it. That too, and you know, it's sort of a casual way. You can have a bit of a smoke in a sort of debonair way. Charming, man. Of course. But yeah. So I'm quite impressed with this pipe. This one so far that I've used anyway. It's a little bit burnt on the edges, but that's because I was using a blowtorch to actually light it up in the first place. So, but ironically, anyway, I got the 6 of those pipes. I'm going to try and sell the other ones for like, even if I sell the other ones for like $15 each, plus so much postage or something like that, I'd still be making back what I pretty much sold them. Yeah, and to be honest, I could probably sell them for that much because they look that good. It's all down to perception, people. It's perception of how much something you believe is worth, and how much something looks. It's also what it looks like, and how much people believe it can be worth at the time. But it was sort of a bulk. I think it was a bulk auction anyway, from what I gathered. But because I was buying in bulk, basically I got a pretty good price. So people still do smoke. I mean, tobacco's become a little less prominent in people smoking these days, but people still do smoke. It's something they do. Or they might smoke a bit of the other tobacco. But yeah, I mean that's my point. Like, people do smoke, so I don't think I'd have a problem selling these. I got this is just one. I'm keeping one, obviously, for myself. So far, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with the pipe, actually. So, you know what goes through my entire fucking mind when I look at this? It's like, elementary, my dear Watson. That's exactly what goes through my fucking head when I see that. And yes, you are correct. Facebook mods can suck a dick. So I'm not honest. I've met some good admins and mods and stuff. They're okay, but yeah, I've also met some shitty mods too. I've met some mods who get a bit of a personal vendetta against certain people because certain people are like not assholes, but certain people are like fucking smart asses to them, and they get a bit of a vendetta thing going against them. And I don't care if you're in a position where you're a mod or something, you shouldn't be taking on personal vendettas. That's kind of fucking retarded. You're not doing your job properly if you take on personal vendettas. I'm sorry, but that's just ridiculous. You would never see me if I was in a situation where I was modded for certain things, where I'd take on the responsibility. Sorry, where I'd take on a personal vendetta against someone without good reason. I'd have to do it. Firstly, I'd have to have a good reason. That's the first part of it. The second reason that I'd probably have to have, I don't know. See, even in the past when I've talked to people, and even some of my old friends say, most of the time I was pretty good towards them, you know? It's only till a little while ago when I had a friend of 9 years fucking side with a scammer over me that I sort of got the shits, you know? Saying that I still sort of forgave her to this day, and I still sort of forgive some people for some things, because I guess, you know, I'm just one of those people. I do forgive sometimes. I forgive for a short period, and then, you know, I get drunk again, and I get the shits with them again. It's a cycle. Don't you love cycles? I love riding motorcycles. I mean, for fucking bicycles. I was going with that. That's still fucking funny, though. I don't know. I don't know. I think we all get into a pattern of behaviour that we think is normal. Like, I know I'm far from fucking normal. I'm the most abnormal cunt you'll ever meet in your entire life. Actually, I like this. I got a post. A friend of mine, Raylene, she posted on my Facebook this morning. Says, so apparently Carrie Fisher's autopsy showed high levels of none of your damn business. If any autopsy report makes you feel differently about Carrie Fisher, because Carrie Fisher, as you know, had a lot of issues. She was, when it came to mental stability, you know what? I'm not going to criticize her for it. She was a lovely actress, and she was a good actor too. Well, sorry, lovely actress, and she was very good with her acting. Carrie Fisher, you never deserved differently about Carrie Fisher. You never deserved her in the first place. Many people with mental health issues use drugs to cope. We shouldn't think any less of them. She fought a tough battle. Let her rest in peace. Carrie Fisher was a badass. The end. Well, you know what? You know what? As somebody who fucking believes in that shit, I'm going to totally agree with that. That makes fucking sense. I'm sorry, but every person who has a mental stability issue uses some type of drug to cope. Whether it's a pill or something else. Well, I won't necessarily condone anything heavier than a pill or smoking, but there's probably people who've used heavier methods to deal with their problems. You know, I'm not gonna chastise somebody who obviously, if they can function at that level, go right ahead. I'd never personally do something like that myself, but you know what? I'm not gonna criticize somebody because they use their drug. And I mean, look, I use drugs to cope with my everyday life. Like, what the fuck do you think there's a fucking drawer full of pills behind me for? I use drugs. Well, whether it's a legal drug, it's sort of a grey area. There's different types of drugs. I mean, as I said, these are the things. I've never considered weed to be a drug. Anybody who thinks that's a fucking retard, because they firstly don't know how it works. Secondly, the other part of it too is it's generally been proven now, and it's starting to be proven that it has a lot of medical benefits, like way more medical benefits than what previous science has said that it, you know, supposedly it'll do this, you do. I mean, I've watched some of these fucking videos. They call it reefer madness. Oh my fucking god. Drugs contributed to her death. But at the end, I don't know, I haven't seen any type of person who's in that type of acting spiel that, look, put it this way, most of them have done some type of drug, whether it's prescription drugs or otherwise, alright? They've all done some type of drug. Fucking everybody's done something. I mean, I'm yet to see a drug-free person in my life. Like, from different people that I've met through my life, alright? I'm yet to see a person who doesn't have some type of drug, whether it's a prescription drug or otherwise. Somebody has a drug in their system. Fuck, caffeine's a drug if you have enough of it, alright? And I'm sorry, but in my context of how the world works, we're all on drugs in some form or another. You know, it's the other side of it too. Say, for example, you know, antibiotics or something else, or a medicine that keeps you healthy, or, you know, treatment for your hay fever. They're all drugs. Like, they're drugs. That's my point. What the fuck else are you going to call them? That's my point. So, you know what? Let's just look at it from this perspective. Most people are on some type of drug. And, you know, just because it says this is legal, doesn't mean that it's not a drug. Caffeine is a very strong stimulant, especially depending on the amount that you use. I have a cappuccino myself. Well, this is a cappuccino. I think the strength is like 13 or something. It's from a cappuccino machine. But my point is, fuck, this is my point. Everybody has a drug of some type. There is always some type of drug involved. In every celebrity death, except for... let's see, Robin Williams, though, I don't believe we might have had whiskey. But I mean, whiskey... Alcohol is still technically a drug. Technically a drug. See, I've always been a believer. This stuff, you know, different types of things that you consume, certain things, it's the moderation level that you have it at. It's how much of it you have. It's how much of it you don't have, sort of thing. If you have too much, obviously it's going to kill you. But the other side of it too is all these different types of drugs, whether it's vaporizing or whatever, have an effect on your body in some way or another. Same as some of the drugs you get, for example, say from your local pharmacy. They have the same effect. They can have a detrimental effect, they can have a positive effect, they can have an effect where you can't lose weight or you have issues losing weight. This is my point. I prefer to say that I like natural drugs. Naturally occurring drugs. Natural things that are better for your body because they work with the flow of your body instead of against the flow of your body. Artificial drugs tend to work against the flow of your body, in most cases. They work against it in the sense that they cut certain things off, They, in essence, make things... Yeah, well, they cut certain things off, they ramp up certain production levels which they shouldn't, and that's not a natural level that the body should be at, right? So I'm more inclined to agree with something that's natural than I am to something that's synthetic. And there is plenty of natural herbal drugs, you could say, or herbal medicines, as it were. In fact, there's a ton of them. I'm actually smoking one right now. This right here is a mild opiate, wild lettuce. I'm smoking that because I've got a bit of nicotine and stuff like that and things of that nature. But that's entirely my point. That's the type of stuff. There's other ones as well. There's hemp oil, which is obviously a very cut down derivative of weed itself, right? Which it's not as potent as weed, but getting a direct hit off weed anyway. So, I mean, this is my fucking point that I'm trying to make to you, is I'm more inclined to agree with natural stuff because it's less likely to kill you in the long run. For example, ginseng, ginkgo biloba, those are some things that I consume on a daily basis, and they make me a more functional human being because of it. Not just a more functional human being, but I was finding that a lot of the prescription drugs per se at times would ruin my concentration levels or would ruin my memory at times, like make my memory worse and make me more docile, which I don't want to be more docile. You got to be able to fight for yourself at the same time. I mean, you can't be this docile fucking zombie. And I'll be honest, most antipsychotic drugs make you feel like a fucking zombie. That's the truth. It's just how they are. They make you feel like you're a zombie. They knock you out. I mean, it's okay if you want to sleep. That's fine, but most antipsychotic drugs just are notoriously bad for, turning you into a drooling zombie sometimes. And that's been my experience with that stuff. Other stuff that I've had has helped me focus and cope. Even a bit of tobacco every so often is therapeutic for me. It's therapeutic for me to smoke out of a pipe, to be honest, it's a bit of a therapy thing for me. Now, is it for everybody? No, it's not. It's not for everybody. Not everybody can. Some people have a really weak constitutional, or they can't fucking take anything. Like, you throw one drug at them, they just fall over and fucking practically die. But you've got to consider that I'm the type of guy who, well, I mean, I've been told by my sister and a few members of my family, and even my dad is the same. We have guts of leather. I've got drunk one night and ate part of a raw chicken, and I didn't end up getting salmonella poisoning. That's my fucking point. I've actually got a really strong constitution. My stomach is like fucking, like fucking hell, man. Like, I'm a tough cunt when it comes to my body and the amount of shit that my body's been through. You know what I mean? And I mean, okay, I get a bit of hay fever, I get a bit of joint pain, but most of that stuff goes away when I have certain things, and I do certain things. I've always been the type of person, in the long run, who I've always had a very strong immune system and a strong constitution towards things. Like that's just how my body works. It's basically always how my body's worked, and that's the truth. It's the fucking truth. I have a pretty strong body when it comes to a lot of stuff. I rarely get colds. If I do get colds, it's maybe once in a fucking blue moon, to be honest. And most of the time, if that cold only lasts about a week or so. I think the only thing I've ever had that probably has been a problem for me is occasionally hemorrhoid issues, but that's because of sometimes my digestive system gets a little screwed up, but that's most of the time. Most of the time, if I eat certain foods and certain natural elements, it clears that up within a week. And another thing too that contributes it to is the weather. If it's summer, I don't get hemorrhoid stuff or anything of that nature. If it's winter, it can be a bit of an issue sometimes, but not always. Sometimes it's fine. This is my point. And this is my point. I've learned natural things that work for me and work for my body. I do admit sometimes and occasionally I have to take an antihistamine because of my hay fever. I don't take an antihistamine all the time. I try not to take an antihistamine all the time. Same with, say, for example, for a while I was taking codeine painkillers. Now, codeine painkillers are okay. They have a certain degree of good use, but the other thing is too, they can be highly addictive. Not just highly addictive, but you can become too reliant on them. That's another issue, you know. The other issue that I found with codeine is it can make you tired, extremely tired. You want to sleep all the time, and you feel a bit like a zombie, and it zombies you out. Some of this stuff zombies you out, whereas this stuff, you know, tends to not as much. But you know, I actually received these yesterday. What the hell are these? These are 18 ohms. These are coils for one of my tanks, which I need to probably replace that coil that's in there anyway. But this is an E-leaf anyway. It's actually from the original tank of the vaporizer that I have right here. It's a good tank, by the way. Anyway, I just need to probably replace it, but I'm waiting for at least 2 other packets of 5 of these. So I got 5 in total. You get 5 in a pack. I got them pretty cheap too, like $8 or something. I mean, considering you buy these in Australia, they're fucking expensive. But yeah, I got a pack of them. So you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, and Bob's your uncle. Yeah? So yeah, I'm waiting for those to arrive. I don't think I need to replace that one yet. Not as yet. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. If it does happen, it happens. If it doesn't, it's all good. But anyway, my point is, there's the E-leaf, right? Now the E-leaf, it's not actually bad. I'm thinking of getting a bigger vaporizer, to be honest, at this point. Well, I'm planning to anyway. Somebody message me. Yes, I did, man. Sorry, I only just noticed what you typed then. What was that? Oh, okay, this was like 27 minutes ago. Or something like that, roughly. Yes, I did get my pipes, man. I got them. I got my Sherlock Holmes pipes. I'm going to show you Watson. I like the way I actually did that. There was a pretty good facial expression there. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Beside the point. I did get, I don't know, as I said, I got a box of these cunts, so I'm going to sell them. I figure if I sell them for like so much each, I can make back the money. Actually, I'll probably make double or triple back what I paid for them. Not that hard. Not that hard, really. I figured, you know, maybe I'll keep like 2. I'll keep 2 spares, right? 2 spares, in case the first one goes belly up, but I'll keep 2 spares, and then the rest pretty much I'll sell. So 2 spares, so it'll leave me about 4 or 5 or something. Yeah, no, it'll leave me 4. It'll leave me 4 exactly. So yeah, but this is my freaking point. You know, as I said, I'm pretty impressed with this pipe though. Like I smoked out of it yesterday, day before, and I was pretty impressed with how well it worked. The smoke wasn't bad either. In the sense of how, like, when you draw it back on it, it had a nice draw on it as well. So I thought it was good. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. But yeah. Maybe I perhaps become a bit of a connoisseur. Perhaps. I don't know. I was a connoisseur. I'm a connoisseur sometimes. Sometimes it depends on what I'm doing. So I was just checking my Twitter. But yeah, no, like I said, it's just yes, I did get my pipes indeed. So much so anyway. But yes, Facebook hates free speech. And that will be my argument from now on, pretty much. But yes, drugs contributed to her death. But should you think of any less of a person because drugs contributed to their death? I don't think so. At the end of it, it may not necessarily be the drugs. It might have been the stress she was under. Could have been the stress that she was under. And she simply she underestimated how much she was giving herself in the sense of a dose of something. Yeah, but what are you saying in context, dude? Are you saying that she was weak because she chose drugs? Or are you saying that she was weak because... Like, I don't know, man. That's kind of jaded in my mind. Like, she was weak. She was weak because, what, she wanted to kill herself? Maybe she didn't intend to kill herself. How do you truly know the story? You don't know the full story. That's the thing. Like, alright. You don't know the full story, the full situation that she was in. You don't know the level of stress she might have had mentally, especially being an actress, because being an actress can be stressful. I've known plenty of people when it comes to stress, right? It's hard for them to deal with it, especially when it comes to their emotional states. I'm all for having strong people and having strong mindsets, but just because somebody chooses to say have a bit of alcohol or have a bit of a drink or have a medication in their system doesn't mean they're weak. It means that they need a coping mechanism. You know what I mean? And I don't think she was weak because of it. She either could have possibly estimated. She was like a crack whore. Why the fuck do you know that? Do you know the full story? If you know the full story, link me the full story. I'll tell you whether I'll fucking tell you. I'll tell you whether she was a crack whore or not. The other side of it too is I've seen some people on crack, and they can literally not have crack and they're fine. I've also seen some people, and this is the reason I'm talking about. Fucking trolling cunt. I know, because you're trolling. I highly doubt that you are actually friends with Carrie Fisher. Actually, I'm just going to say that because most likely you're just trying to fucking take the piss, mate. Perpetuate the troll. Perpetuate the troll. The trollish individuals. Robco. Was she a crack whore? You know what? I will say, though. Crack whores. I don't know. See, this is the reason I guess I don't really condone heavier drugs. Meth, ice, crack, fucking ketamine, all that shit. I don't condone that because I've seen the damage it does to families and people. You know, and I'll say, I guess I can sort of judge somebody for that, technically, because a lot of that shit is very damaging. Oh, yeah, I'm going to say that. I'm going to be honest about that, yep. A lot of that shit is very damaging. It can be extremely damaging for people. And I've seen it be damaging. And that type of stuff, you know, I get people judging them. But I've had people turn around because they smoke weed and judge me because I drink alcohol. I'm like, okay, fuck off. Firstly, you don't know me as a person. That was one side of it. They knew me, but they didn't know me that well. I mean, then, you know, most of the time, admittedly, when people see me sometimes, I've been drunk. I've had a couple of drinks, you know. But do I get drunk all the time? No. No. I need to take a break occasionally because, you know, my liver would fail. I'm smart enough to know when my body is rejecting something. I'll put it this way. I'm smart enough and self-aware enough to know that when my body's rejecting something that I'm taking or doing. Right? Whether it's food. Okay, firstly, whether it's food or whether it's fucking alcohol or whatever. I know there's even times where I've literally not taken any of my meds because I know my body needs a detox. And I've had like 3 or 4 days where I've just relaxed and laid in bed for a bit and detoxed, right? There's those times where I've done that too. There's other times where it's different. I ran around and did a bit of exercise to get the toxins out of my system too. But I know, I'm smart enough and self-aware enough to know when my body needs a detox, and it needs to be detoxed of whatever chemical elements that may be in it. And my point is, whether it's natural chemical elements, eventually your body does overload on that shit. It does. Eventually it happens. It overloads. It gets a big overload of the stuff, or the stuff builds up in the system. Or you get too much of a tolerance to something. Whether it be alcohol or otherwise. You build up so much of a tolerance, you need more and more and more and much higher doses to get something out of it. Then you stop. You stop and you detox. You do it. You do it from home. The other thing too I do is, what's the name of the stuff? Charcoal tablets. Take charcoal tablets for a few days and basically detox your system. Detoxes all that crap out of your system. On top of that, you shit black for a few days, but yeah, it's not so bad. But admittedly, it's great for detoxing. Well, charcoal is in general, and even medical professionals recommend it. Actually, that is the treatment in hospital if you poison yourself, is charcoal. they put charcoal for your system. Or you're constantly eating at charcoal and stuff like that. But I mean, I just take it in pill form, so it's activated charcoal tablets about this big. I'll show you. These are pretty much it here, right? Activated charcoal tablets. They're about that big. That's what I take. These are perfect for detoxing your body, including and not limited to, even good for keeping your cholesterol levels balanced to a certain extent. To be honest, mine probably, if I didn't smoke, I've only ever got a complaint from the doctor, and this is after 10 years of not having a blood test either. I hadn't had a blood test for 10 years. And I go to the doctor, and she said, well, look, we need to run a blood test on you with your meds that you take on a regular basis, which is, I take them most of the time, but sometimes I don't. She said, we need to run a blood test, because we need to monitor you and make sure you're okay and everything else. And I went, okay, all right, no problem. So I went and got the blood test, fixed that up, and they said, look, okay. She said, look, everything looks pretty good. Your iron levels, all your vitamin levels are really good. Everything's good. Only thing is your cholesterol is slightly high. Now, I know why that is, because I smoke. It's inevitable. It's going to be inevitable because it's part of the facts why smokers do get high cholesterol levels or issues with high cholesterol. Other thing too is, I'm a guy who likes a burger and a steak. All right, I always have been. And the truth is, you know, that's always going to give you high cholesterol if you're that type of person who likes those type of things. And I eat a lot of meat. Not just a lot of meat. I do eat vegetables as well, but I mix my vegetables with my meat. The other thing too is I probably eat more protein than I should. I have a high intake of protein. That's the thing. I'm a big protein person, right? But some people aren't. Some people don't like that. Some people are vegans or vegetarians. You know what? That's your choice. I don't have a problem with you being a vegan or a vegetarian. I'll be honest. I don't have an issue at all. What I do have an issue is when you try to shove it down my throat or force me to be vegan or vegetarian. Then you can go fuck yourself. Because, you know, I'll take my hamburger any day. I'm good, thanks. But anyway, my point is, or beside the point anyway, these are things that I do and things and regimes that I've learned from that work for my body and work for me as a person. They detox my body, they make me feel better. Not just that, but they give me a more highly functional brain. On top of that, you know, I generally feel better. I generally feel fucking better when I take, you know, and I detox and I clear my system out, you know, and I'm always for natural alternatives. Natural alternatives are a lot better for my body. My body functions better. Now, is it going to work for everybody? No, that's the thing. It doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody will like natural stuff because it'll actually irritate them or it'll cause problems for them. There's even people who have sensitivities to some of these things. I am far from fucking sensitive. I have, you know, I may act a little sensitive in some cases, but oh my fucking god. This is my fucking point. People know what they see on screen and me as a person is two different fucking things, alright? In context of it in the long run, alright? It's the same concept when I go out to freaking public. I put an act on. What I'm like really inside my own mind and what I'm like as a person, two different fucking people, alright? The other side of it too is I don't take shit from people either, you know? Some things I'll take and I'll let it slide. But it gets to a certain point, then I'll start annoying you. I have trolled some people for years, because of the fact that they simply started to piss me off and it's like, okay, fine then, I see how it is. You don't respect me at all, you don't respect my shit, and then I turn around and fucking troll them for years. In real life too. This is my context. And you know, basically I'll make their life as difficult as possible because it's like challenge accepted, motherfucker. Yeah, like what the fuck, like seriously. As I said, it cracks me up. And as I said, I'm the type of person who speaks my fucking mind too. If you don't want to hear what I fucking say, get the fuck out of here. Like, what the hell? I don't have a problem speaking my mind. I don't have a problem voicing my opinion. And I don't have a problem telling people to shove shit up their ass either if they're talking out of their fucking ass. Yeah? That's the other side of it as well. So I don't know. Most of the time I'm pretty nice. I'm a pretty nice guy, and I do pretty nice things. But it doesn't mean that I can't be an asshole when I choose to be. Doesn't mean that that's one part of it. Doesn't mean that I can't choose to be an asshole. Doesn't mean that I can't choose to go in a different direction with something. And put it this way, I have trolled people for years. I've trolled some people because, you know, fuck it. Yeah. I think some people deserve it, to be honest. They deserve an ultimate reaction, and they deserve to get the same behaviour. They deserve to get the same behaviour thrown back at them to make them feel... Okay, make them feel the pain that you felt. Not just that, but actually show them what it's like to be psychologically tortured in some degree. Because, you know, because of my mental illness issues, I'm tortured in my own mind psychologically every single day of my life. There is not a moment that I have ever had in my entire life when I've never felt mentally tortured in some way or another. And that's what my entire life is like. Being mentally tortured 24 hours, 7 days a week. I have voices in my head, voices in my fucking head, that constantly berate me, insult me, put me down. So there is nothing that I haven't heard, and not just that, I've had people on the internet have a go at me too. There is nothing in the fucking internet or the fucking world that I haven't heard when it comes to insults. I actually turn around and be like, okay, you want to insult me? Fucking do it the right way. You know what I mean? That's my fucking point. I've actually challenged. I said to people, okay, firstly, this is the troll group I was in. It's like, let's see, sir. You want to insult me? Come at me. Come at me, bitch. Come on, motherfucker. And this is my point. I challenge people to do that. And I had about a dozen different people, and I ended up laughing it off at the end of the night. I'm like, fuck this shit. It's like, oh, okay, alright. And like, I cracked it. It cracked me up because what ultimately cracked me up about it is they tried their damnedest. They tried their fucking hardest. Even with the subjects that that I limit myself on trolling myself, they tried their hardest to insult me, but I just went, fuck it. Like, really? Like, what the fuck? I don't give a shit. Because the truth is that there is always going to be somebody who wants to put you down or stop you having fun, stop you being yourself. And you know what? Fuck them. Fuck the entire lot of it. Because, I mean, fucking to quote Taylor Swift, haters gonna hate. I know I'm probably gonna get shit for doing that, but I did it anyway. My fucking point is, you know, well, it's generally haters, trolls, people are gonna come at you. They will always fucking do that. I don't know. I mean, there's sometimes I've chucked the shits and I've gone at people and I've gone on rants, but normally if I go on that rant, I'll sit there and let my steam valve off on fucking YouTube or something. This does crack me up though. But like, I mean, not like, look, as I said, it's each individual to their own preference or standpoint. Look, I don't think, you know, I don't think it's all the case, but I've come to the conclusion with some people, at the end of it, the reason that a troll exists is because people react. The key most of the time is not to react. That's part of it. And it's to know when you're being fucked with and when you're being pissed with. You know what I mean? I mean, there's not a lot that scares me anymore. Like in the sense of real life stuff and, you know, things like that. I mean, firstly, you're talking to somebody who was... I mean, I'm not as paranoid as I used to be, but, I mean, I was a bit of a paranoid schizophrenic to a certain extent. I used to fucking sleep with a knife under my bed. Well, sorry, under my pillow, actually. Actually, I'll show you the exact knife when I slept under my pillow with this one right here. I would sleep with this under my pillow. Well, sorry. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. This under my pillow. And the reason that I sleep with this under my pillow? Because, I mean, the statistically likelihood of getting broken into is relatively low in this area. I don't think the crime statistics are too bad here. But what's the Boy Scout motto? Always be prepared. Always be prepared. Never... Another thing I have too is only trust certain people. Trust them, and if you do trust them to a certain extent. Know the level you can trust them to beforehand. That's one part of it. Know how you can trust people. Not just that. I mean, look, at the end of it, I've always been the type of person who plays it close to my heart. Not just that, but there's certain things that I don't tell people because I know how... There's certain things I won't say to people because I know how they're going to react. And I know that if I do say those things to people, they're going to come back in a controversial way. But then sometimes I do actually go around and stir the fucking pot and, you know, shit stir people because it's fun. It's fucking fun. It can be really enjoyable. But the other side of it too is I don't like bullies. I don't like people who bully. I've never been a bully myself. I don't go around bullying people. I take the piss. I troll, but I don't bully people. I know the personal experience of what bullying is like. I know how it works. I know why it happens. Not just that, but I know how bullying works as a general rule. And I've seen so many people bullied in my life that I think I've, I would never want somebody to experience that. Especially, if as I said, most people who are bullied, it's because a stronger personality believes that they have the domineering factor. And, supposedly a stronger personality. Which it can, sometimes it can do with, sometimes it can be a thing to do with physical strength. Not always. It's not always about physical strength and how strong you are. It's sometimes also about how much willpower you have in your own head. How much mental acuity you have as well. And how much you can outsmart your opponent. That's part of it, right? That's the first part of it. Now the other part of it is too, you're breaking them down mentally. I have had situations, and this is the only people that I'll do this type of stuff to. So, for example, pedophiles or child abusers or whatever. And scammers. I have kept a scammer on a phone, I think it was a IT tech scam or something, for about half an hour, and I almost had the cunt almost convinced the cunt to kill himself. And you know what? I think I was justified in there, because I think those type of people need to fucking slit their own fucking throat, to be honest. Especially pedophiles. Or, put it this way, I put him through a lot of psychological torture. I pretty much threw every insult at him. I explained to him how insignificant his life was and how much of a piece of pond scum he was. And then I just pointed out a few factors. He sweared at me, and he knew I was right when I was saying all this stuff, and I could tell by the tone of his voice as well. I think he was Indian, to be honest. But yeah, this is my fucking point. I sat there for half an hour, and I was like, fuck it, dude, I'm just going to sit here and rag on you. And I did that for about 30 minutes straight. And after that 30 minutes of me doing that, what ultimately happened is he hung up eventually. But he sat there for 30 minutes listening to me. It just cracked me up that he actually thought he sat there for 30 minutes listening to the shit I was giving him. And as I said, those are the types of people that I think deserve that reaction. And that type of... See, I don't call that bullying. I call that justifying or justice of my actions. You know what I mean? I was justifiable in what I was doing at that time. Yeah? And that's the truth. No, they're not, dude. Pedophiles are the scum of the fucking earth, and they all need to be purged from the planet, to be honest. They're sick fucks. That's one of the subjects, though, that I do cover. Well, subjects that I have covered in the past, and I pointed out how bad those fuckers can be. The reason it's a sore point with me is because of the amount of abuse. My mum was abused as a child, and what she ended up getting out of it. Psychological instability, and she got cancer. She died about 10 years ago now. Yeah, it's about 10 years ago. Yeah, she died about... Yeah, total of, 10 years ago now. No, 10 or 11, no, 10 or 11 years. Well, I've been doing this, I've been doing not YouTube, but, well, YouTube and other stuff for about 10 or 11 years now, since I moved up here. And, yes, I do agree, they are dirty bastards. Fucking rock spiders. We call them rock spiders here in Australia. But the truth is, right, okay, look, at the fucking end of it, I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, my mum, she was a good woman, She probably worried about me a bit too much sometimes, and I don't know, as I said, I was always fairly close to my mum, that's the thing. But the irony of a lot of that stuff, as I said, that got me the most, is that when you see firsthand what a victim has to deal with psychologically, my mum, she was abused from a young age, and there was a lot of shit going on with that, fucking, even her brother apparently got his head put through a wall because he loaned a horse to someone. So yeah, it wasn't just any type of sexual abuse. I mean, it was that too, but it was also physical abuse as well, like beating the crap out of my mum, beating the crap out of there's a lot of that involved anyway. And anyway, my point that I'm trying to make is that in the long term of it, man, a lot of that shit, a lot of it, stemmed back to her mental illnesses. The fact that she ended up getting cancer out of it at the end of it, I believe that was a lot to do with it. Like the reason she ended up getting it in the first place. And yeah, to this day, I mean, the irony of that though is that karma did come back later. My grandfather ended up dying in writhing pain in hospital, bleeding to death. I know, because my mum was there at the time. Like, toward the end of his life, as I said, he was just the type of guy who fucking didn't look after himself, to be honest. That was one part of it. And he was just an arrogant prick. But he ended up dying in writhing pain. And karma, at the end of it, at the end of his life, came back to bite him in the ass completely. And it just fucked him up really badly. I'm serious. Like, the shit I was hearing my mum talked about was, like, as I said, he was totally screwed at the end. You know, and I think at the end of it, I think the words she used was, at the end of it, he was sitting there saying, help me, when, you know, nobody could help him, because with the bleeding and everything else, and all the warfarin and all the other blood thinners he was on, he was fucked. You try and give him a painkiller, it wouldn't fucking work. So basically, at the end of it, he died in writhing pain. Writhing pain and bleeding to death. So, you know, I'm actually not going to complain too much about that. I'm actually quite happy with how his life ended in that case. Would have been nice to be able to do that. It would have been nice to do that to him in my own hands, but unfortunately, I was young at the time when that happened. But yeah, would have been nice to be able to do that with my own hands, but unfortunately, it seems that life and karma and all the other negative energy that he perpetuated in his own life fucking caught the fuck up with him. Ironically. So, you know what? I am a big believer in karma. I'm a big believer that if you do something negative to somebody, or you reflect badly at some point, you will fuck that well, not just that, but generally that will fuck up people's lives. I don't know, as I said, I've concluded in the long run that karma is a thing, and it does happen, and I've seen it do some nasty shit to people in certain circumstances. So, you know what, I've always been a big believer that it does come back eventually to haunt people in some cases. So, yeah. But you know what? Considering who I am, and considering the things that I've seen, the things I've experienced, I've had to deal with a lot of things in my life. Firstly, being bullied all the way through high school, all the way through primary school. Yeah, pretty much being bullied through that entire time, because it's just I was always the abnormal kid, so I always got bullied in some way or another. And then having to endure the psychological torture that goes on in my head 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Having to listen to people insult you in your own head can be quite perplexing, especially when they're not real, and they're a psychological effect of your psychosis. Interesting, isn't it? But yes, that is actually how it works. But anyway, the interesting part about that is, after enduring that, which I endure that every day, it's just, I've become used to the voices. They're just part of me now. So, yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit. Other times, the things that I've endured, in the sense of, aside from my psychological torture factor, the people and the sociopaths that I've come across who have screwed with my life and screwed with me as a person emotionally and manipulated me over the years. Dude, that's not the problem. I always tell them that they suck. That's not the issue, man. Most of the time I can tell them off. And I don't have a problem just telling them off, but I can at times just completely block them out, because I've become so used to them being in my head anyway, that it's just like... See, the other weird part is too, there's another thing I can do too, which is I can turn them to the opposite spectrum. I can turn them to being positive about me as a person, and I can turn them to giving me positive reinforcement. But because of how much I believe is in my subconscious over the years, that's, you know, all the insults that get thrown into my head over the years with that stuff, because of how much is in my subconscious, I believe it's just built up. And sometimes I'll get situations where it's hard to turn the voices to an opposite spectrum. But I've learned control mechanisms my entire life. Not just that, but control mechanisms, because I admit, let's just say I do have, not all the time, but I have had anger management issues in the past with some things. And it's only because it's been sociopathic people who pissed me off. That's the only freaking reason that I've got annoyed in the first place. But, I don't know, as I said, I've experienced some good side. I've experienced the good side of things. I've experienced the bad side of things. I mean, it all stems from the fact that I've had a few things happen in my life that were, I would say, negative. One, my mum dying. That was a big part of it. I mean, she's been dead for 10 or 11 years now, and I've been doing this for 10 or 11 years now, a bit more maybe. My business stuff, I only started recently doing my business stuff a little while ago, but I've been doing this stuff since then, and losing her was a big part of me emotionally withdrawing, I think. It was the biggest part of it all. That's the thing. Losing someone who understood you. I mean, my mum had schizophrenia, I had schizophrenia. That's my point. She understood me better than my dad and my sister does. I love my sister, I love my dad, but they have no idea what the hell goes on in my head. Like, half of the shit and the fucked up shit and the combination of stuff that goes through my head on a daily basis, they have no idea. And it's hard for them to understand it because they've never had a mental illness. You know, they've never had, like, the type of mental illness I have. My sister's always been pretty confident. Sister's a bit controlling, but I think that's because my sister has a couple of Asperger's and things like that and other stuff like that. She has the same conditions as me, but see, the problem is I have the schizophrenia, which is inherently negative as well. I have all the good traits in my own mind, in my own body, but I also have bad traits as well, so it's sort of a mixture. And, you know, I mean, that was probably the biggest part of my life that sort of left a hole in a lot of shit. Like, I mean, I swear. It really did. It left a lot of holes in my emotional state. Feeling like... I don't know. I guess you could say I hated the world for a while. Yeah. I think for a little while that did happen. I hated the world. I hated people. You know... From the things that I know and the things that I've learned, not just that, but the things that I've hacked out of government websites in the past, and this was years ago though, I've learned there's a lot of things that were kept from the public, especially when it came to natural cures and things like that, and, you know, that goes through my mind sometimes when I think, fuck, you know, if my mum hadn't got all the radiation treatment and all the other shit she was getting, would she have lived longer? She was given 6 months, she lived 3 years, but the honest truth is I think half the treatment she was getting was archaic. I am not a big believer in nuclear medicine. I'm sorry. I think it's fucking retarded to use nuclear medicine, or sorry, chemotherapy as it were, to actually treat cancer, firstly to begin with, because you're just putting radiation on top of radiation and you're killing the fucking immune system. Like, that's pretty much what fucking radiation does. Like, even medical experts fucking point that out because they have to monitor people to make sure they don't kill the immune system. So, let's be honest. I think nuclear medicine is a farce. I think it's a money-making, avenue-gathering piece of shit. Because I've seen the amount of money that goes into it. Say, for example, $15,000 for what they call radioactive spear treatment that my sister ended up paying for. And, fuck. Like, really? I hate my fucking chat. Fuck you, chat. There we go. It's better. But yeah, it's my fucking point. Like, what the fuck? Seriously. I'm sorry, but to me, it seems like all of that crap is not going to do anybody any good. That's the reason I'm always been a believer in more in holistic medicine than I am in certain pharmaceutical things. I'll be honest, I don't think I think there's some pharmaceutical drugs that could work in certain situations, and I'm not going to argue that. But I think there's some pharmaceutical stuff that's just pointless. It's fucking ridiculous trying to, you know... Sometimes it can be more detrimental to the body than it can fixing the body, you know? Like, what the fuck? I don't know. You know, it's the same context. I also believe science has a lot of good merits too. Science is a wonderful thing. Don't get me wrong, I love science. I think science is not bad. It's not the worst thing that can be out there. But, you know, it has its negative side as well. That's the truth. And if people can't acknowledge the fact that it does have a negative side, well, you know, clearly you haven't read. Sorry, clearly you're not reading the latest stuff, you know, about some of the stuff that's been coming out lately, so, yeah. I don't know. I'm of two minds with some things when it comes to thinking about you know, the good and bad sides of everything. But, I mean, I've always been the type of person that looks at both sides of the argument. I stand in the middle. I'm a bit like Switzerland neutral. But I try to see both sides of the argument. I try to see both sides, and I try to give it a bit of sympathy towards both sides, I guess. Which I know is probably a bit of a fuck situation, but that's just how my mind works. Actually, no, not necessarily. I mean, I don't think I think it's okay to have empathy towards people or situations. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's actually a good human trait, to be honest. But so unfortunately, we are, well, not entirely, but there is probably more psychopaths in the world these days than there used to be. Mainly because we, as a society these days, are more mentally stressed than we used to be. Like, I mean, way more mentally stressed. Like, we're to the point where mental stress has become a regular occurrence. It's because of the amount of hours we have to work, the amount of mental issues that we have to deal with, the amount of stress we have to deal with, and say somebody insulting us or us feeling negative about the world. Or, you know, the other side of it too is having too much work to do. That's another thing too, you know. Or working ourselves to the bone so much that we literally collapse. Which I think that's kind of fucked. You shouldn't work yourself to the bone so you completely collapse into a heap. There's nothing wrong with working, don't get me wrong. I'm not all for that, but you've got to know your limit. It's the same context with drinking. You've got to know your limit to that too. You drink enough alcohol, you will die. You will die of liver failure. Simple as that. Does surprise me over the years with the amount that I've drunk that I haven't, but I'm doing well. Well, according to my last blood test, I was. So. But considering that I hadn't had a blood test for 10 years, and I was so surprised, she says, it was like, no, your liver looks fine, everything looks fine, all your enzymes are good, yeah, no, you're good, it's all good. It's like, oh, really? She said, yeah, your cholesterol's a bit high, and you're a bit of a fatty liver, but it's not too bad. And she said, look, you're looking pretty good on the spectrum of things, and she said, my vitamin levels are good, and I'm like, okay, cool. As I said, I hadn't had a blood test for fucking 10 years. So, considering I hadn't had a blood test for that long, and I was only doing my own herbal remedies and my own stuff that worked with my body, I did well. And the only two pharmaceutical medicines I have is an antipsychotic and an antidepressant. I haven't needed the antidepressant of late, firstly. Secondly, I've still got the antipsychotic. I have to take that occasionally just to chemically balance myself a little bit sometimes. But, like, fuck, there's my point. I'm doing pretty fucking well for myself. You know, like, that's my point. Like, I think I posted on page. I even posted my fucking medical results on fucking, on my Facebook a while back. I mean, I don't know, it's probably down a ton of views. I don't know, I probably have to find it, to be honest. But, yeah, but according to them, I'm doing pretty well. So I was like, yeah, cool, that's nice. And this was a while back, though. This is probably about a month or so ago now. I don't know. I probably will end up getting another blood test just to check myself again. Just because, I think it's probably a good idea. But, what I normally do, if I'm going to get a blood test or anything like that beforehand, I might, cut down on certain things before I get the blood test, just to make sure I'm okay. The other side of it too is, I occasionally do that too. I'll cut down on some things because, I don't know, most of the time I feel pretty healthy. Most of the time. There's certain times where I haven't felt 100% healthy, but most of the time it's ended up being the fact when I'm hungover. And you're going to feel like shit when you're hungover anyway. Like, that's just pretty fucking normal for anybody who drinks. You're going to feel like shit when if you do have a fucking hangover, you're going to feel like shit, But, any other day of the week, in most cases, I'm pretty good. I do have some heartburn issues occasionally, but I think that's just some of the foods and stuff that I eat. I also know that with vaporizing sometimes, it can cause a bit of heartburn with some of the glucose stuff that they use to produce in these. And this is an issue for some people and not for others. I know it is a bit of an issue for me, but here's the thing. You know how I fix heartburn? Glass of water, about maybe teaspoon plus half a teaspoon of baking soda in a glass, mix it in, Bob's your uncle. Heartburn is fixed. Balances it out. It's the pH levels. Basically, it stops the heartburn. Basically, the context of it is, with heartburn, the way it works is you haven't got enough acid. So at the end of it, it's just extra food that's coming up that's not sort of digesting properly either. The other thing that I take well is turmeric, which is great for digestive factor. Wonderful for digestive factor. It's good for being able to digest your food better. And I mean, to be honest, there's just some food. There's just some food these days that's so processed that it's hard to fucking digest. That's the other thing too. And I mean, you know, considering me, I got a fucking stomach of leather. That's actually, you know, that's saying something. There's that. Turmeric is good. I also take a probiotic. There's a little probiotic, there's little chocolate ball things which are like a probiotic. I take that occasionally too. I take vitamin tablets. I always have taken vitamin tablets. Sometimes I'll take vitamin D3 tablets as well with a bit of fish oil. Fish oil is great for your cardiovascular system as well, and it's also great for your body. Generally I find, well, this is my point. I take a ton of things. It's not just one thing that I'm taking, and I take this stuff on a regular basis. I try to take it at least every day. If I do skip it a couple of days, it's because I'm detoxing my system and clearing my system out, basically. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I do most of the time. But no, the negative things that I've had happen in my life, as I said, was my mum. That was part of it. I've had some sociopathic assholes cause me problems over the years. I've had some good people in my life. Don't get me wrong. I still do have some good people in my life. But, you know, there's... I hate to say it, but on the internet, you've got your share of assholes and your share of good people. And everybody's different. And then there's just the completely fuck side of the internet on the dark web, where you can pay $500 to see somebody snuffed. Which is kind of fucked. I don't understand why somebody would do that. I mean, well, okay, these are innocent people who've never done anything I'm talking about. I'm not talking about people who actually would have committed a crime. I'm talking about people, just innocent people, and they're being killed for fun. Not just for fun, but for entertainment. That is fucked. Quite fucked. Extremely fucked, actually. Yeah, typically. It's probably... depending on who you want to get snuffed, honestly, but yeah. It's sad. It's sad, but true. There is parts of the internet you can do that. It's on the dark web. You've got to go on a Tor browser. It's got to be all encrypted and shit, but there is parts of the internet that can be done. Fuck, there's parts of the internet where you can get drugs, guns. Fuck. There's probably a couple of places you can get nuclear weapons, for that matter. It's a fuck ton of those places. Well, not as many. See, Silk Road was a place that was available years ago. Until the FBI / all the sort of federal agencies shut it down. It was the main go-to place for drugs. You could get anything: cocaine, meth, whatever you wanted. You can get weed if you wanted. But I mean, that's my point. I sort of hate the fact that weed is associated with that type of illegal behaviour. But yeah, you can get that. You can get what else? Fuck. You can get everything. I mean, I don't think there was anything that... I mean, you could hire a fucking hitman. And the other side of it, too, is when you did that... most of it was done through untraceable currency. I mean, Bitcoin is untraceable. You convert it from your own money or whatever. I mean, it might be able to be traced back if you convert it from your own money. But... typically... I mean, typically if you pay with Bitcoin, it's untraceable in most cases. On top of that, I mean, you put your own security precautions in place, but I mean, that's my point. Any type of illegal activity could be done. And, you know, fuck, there's even the fact that pedophile activity could be hidden too on the net, especially in the dark web. It's fucking sick. And, like I said, a lot of this stuff is just the detriment to the human race. It's scum-sucking shit that I think just doesn't deserve a place in the world we live in these days, so I don't think it does anyway. Maybe that's just me, but there's probably a few. I think there's a few people with the same attitude, to be honest. So unfortunately, it's just the way it is. It's the way the world is. Unfortunately, there's there's that illegal activity. It's around. It's not abundantly easy to find, but it can be can be brought to light, you know. And put it this way, it's not all. I mean, it's not all easy to access, but a lot of it is there. I've dabbled around on the internet. I've done that type of stuff on the dark. Well, no, I haven't done that type of stuff. I've gone on the dark web specifically for hacking purposes because a couple of old friends and stuff, and just for the hell of it, you know. Just not just that, but I went on there for other research purposes. I was thinking about doing a YouTube video for some of this stuff at some points, just to point it out. And the other side of it too is, you know, I thought, fuck. I mean, I thought at the time, you know, I wanted to know how far humans could fall. You know what I mean? Monsteristic behavior, psychotic, psychopathic behavior. Wouldn't that be the perfect cover, though? Wouldn't that be the fucking perfect cover? A YouTuber who's not that overly famous, hire Hitman for hire, but yet he never expresses that. I'm always out in the public eye, but yet I'm always killing someone. like, ironically, wouldn't that be the perfect fucking cover? Wouldn't it be? Like, you're a public figure, technically, right? And you put yourself out there, but yet, in your spare time, in your downtime, you're a hitman. That, like, no, I mean, just take a thought of that for a moment, right? If you're a big YouTuber or something like that, if you were able to do that, right? Just think about that for a second. What if somebody did that, right? And logically speaking, it'd be the best idea because you could just show yourself in one location. I mean, at the end of it, you'd probably have to reach a... Hey, firstly, you'd want to have... Logically, if you were going to do it, you'd have to have a burner phone because you'd need a phone to be able to get to your clients. Alright? That's the first part of it. You need a burner phone to set aside. Then you wouldn't have GPS tracking because most modern phones, especially smartphones or otherwise these days, have some type of GPS tracking. You'd have to probably get an older burner phone which doesn't have as much GPS tracking as... I mean, I think it was up to a certain... After a certain amount of years, they actually started using GPS tracking on most phones. Even some of the older ones, older looking type flip phones. But, yeah, you basically want to have an untraceable phone. You could take calls from that, and then when you weren't doing stuff, you'd have a you'd probably have some type of system where to reroute and show where you were. Because I mean, most things these days are logged by Google. Like anywhere you go these days is always logged by Google. But if you don't have anything to trace, for example, like a mobile phone or some type of smartphone, it's not as easy to find you. I mean, yes, there is satellite stuff. There is satellites that can track you, but it depends. See, it depends. There are certain things you can do to actually. I was reading. Where was I reading that article? It was about something you could actually do to stop surveillance satellites actually focusing on you. Like literally, it was some type of chemical agent or something you could spray on yourself, and it would take the focus off you. Or you wouldn't be able to be traced. I don't remember what the fuck it was. I was reading it somewhere. I did this a while back anyway, but yeah. But no, I mean, logically, put it this way. If you were going to do it, you'd have an untraceable burner phone, you'd have a set of weapons, you'd have a separate apartment, you know, from the one that you do your public sort of YouTube stuff in. You'd have that set away somewhere, and you probably wouldn't have it in your name, because that'd just be stupid. You'd have it in some type of alias. Actually, you'd probably have about 12 different aliases. Probably more, actually. Most hitmen would commonly have probably 12 or more different aliases in general. You know, the other side of it too is, depending on what you were doing, you know, disguises too are never out of the question. But yeah, no. I mean, if you're actually going to be a hitman, that's what you do. I mean, if, you know, just play it smart. Yeah, I would say that. That's exactly what the fuck you do. It's just like the smartest idea. Like, at the end of it, there's like, imagine that, you know, a YouTuber who it's like I'm a hitman by it's like hitman by day. But I mean, it does make me wonder with some of the people, because most of the time you can make up stuff on, say for example, you did have some type of channel on YouTube and you were making up stories, supposedly making up stories of things that happened, whether you were a serial killer or something like that. The perfect way to be in the public light, and say for example being a serial killer or a hitman, the perfect way would be to show your public face, always be noticeable, but in your spare time you murder people and you just get rid of the bodies afterwards. Like, that's just, like, I don't know, just like that just makes total sense. You'd want to put yourself in the public eye so people would think, oh no, he's harmless, oh no, he never hurt a fly, you know, sort of thing. And ultimately, the smartest idea you'd have in the long run by doing that is, you know, mate, well, in a minute, what are you going to cook it, are you? What? Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I'm planning on cooking it at some point. Right? I'm planning on cooking it at some point. Why?
You want it all cooked, you want it...
You're cooking it. Oh, okay, alright. Well, sorry, I got to know. Yeah, no, cook it all. Well, yeah, what?
I'll have it, please. Look, I'll make one piece. I'll cook 3 pieces. I'll make one piece for tomorrow morning.
No, just cook the entire lot, because I might want an extra piece of steak anyway, it's fine. Alright, never mind. Sorry, I didn't hear you the first time, I didn't realise you were cooking it, that's all. Oh, alright. But no, that'd actually be the perfect way to precipitate some type of psychotic or... Yeah, some type of psychotic or, hitman type personality. I mean, you can make up a bunch of stories, say that these stories were not based on any factual characters or otherwise, change a few names around, and you could simply say that this because it did happen in real life, you could base these stories and you could put the stories all over YouTube, and the only way you'd probably end up getting caught is if there was something that somebody noticed in the story that specifically, you know, whether you're working with a partner or whatever. I mean, yeah, that's the only chance you'd probably get caught. Yeah. But no, that actually makes sense. Like, that'd be the smartest play if you were that type of person inclined. Absolutely. Best idea in the world. Oh my fucking god. Australia Terror Forces on high alerts. Terrorist attack tomorrow. Oh, terrorists. Just terrorizing. Oh, this is promoting. Well, I think at the end, see, some of these terrorist attacks that I have been hearing about, it does make me wonder, with some of them, whether, like, it makes me wonder with, like, okay, some of the ones that I've heard about, the big one which was at the concert recently, you know, the London concert, why was there not, I'll be honest, why was there not any type of security checking for bombs or anything like that? Like, I mean, I don't know the full story. I know the story that was put out into the media, but was there anybody actually at that concert with a bomb checking dog at all? Like, you'd think for a big public concert like that, they'd have some type of, like, at least a bomb sniffing dog somewhere. Like, wouldn't that be logical? Especially if we know that terrorists are out there and they're going to or prone to attack. Why wouldn't you fucking put a bomb sniffing dog in a public event like that? Especially if it's in a stadium or a big thing like that. That's just like, it's like anything with that type of audience is going to attract a terrorist attack. It's just fucking logical. Like, what the hell? You know? And it makes me wonder, as I said, like, have we learned from our mistakes? You know, as human beings? Like, have we truly learned to be more secure? Oh, yeah, I know, I saw that. I didn't just see that, I saw a bunch. Dude, there's a fuckload of videos that came across YouTube. Sorry, not YouTube. Facebook. Because a lot of shit comes across Facebook. Well, it always does with mine anyway. My Facebook is always full of it. But this is the thing. I think it's sad, you know. I mean, look, I'll put it this way. Fucking terrorists, I'm sorry, but the shit that they do is pretty fucked up. You know, especially destroying innocent people's lives, blowing up people who have, you know, no vote in the conflict or otherwise, alright? I mean, look, I'm sorry, but if somebody... At the end of it, I know that terrorist situations happen. Not just that, but I know for... Look, I don't know, it's probably a subject I can be pissed off about and rant about. The major majority of these terrorist attacks, in cause and effect, are always done on innocent people. They're never done on any military installations. They're always done on people who can't defend themselves with a gun or otherwise, or anything of that nature. That's the thing I think is the most fucked up, is that it's always done on those people in that case. It's fucked. It shouldn't happen. I mean, I'm not saying things should be in a police state, but I think we should learn from our past mistakes to see what happens. I mean, in a public event, whether it's a stadium event or otherwise, why in the fucking world wouldn't you have some type of bomb-sniffing dog? I mean, that'd just be my first thought, like... While I cough up a lung. I would definitely have some type of bomb-sniffing dog or something like that. Probably a police presence. That would just be logical. Aside from police presence, what else would you have? That's the thing. Yeah, I know that. See, another thing I don't condone either is hate crimes. Look, just because Muslim... Okay, look, I know the vast majority of attacks are Muslims who are, you know, who blow up shit and, you know, basically cause these issues or do terror attacks in that effect. But I don't think running people over in front of a mosque in England is the right way to fucking go about it. Firstly, they pretty much classified as a hate crime. Because it was targeted specifically at the Muslims in the mosque. Now, look, to put it this way, I don't believe that all Muslims are guilty of terrorism. And I never have. But I do know that a vast majority of those attacks they tend to come from a Muslim background. The other side of it too is that aside from that Muslim background, I mean, fuck, there's been instances in the past where Christians. What I like to call Christian extremist organisations, which are sort of, you know, they have their own thing. Why must all Muslims die? Please explain that to me. I don't think Muslims deserve to die. Just because some fucking crazy cunts decide they want to blow some people up. I get why people react the way they do. But do you know the comments you just made then are actually quite racist? Like, it's like the context of black people too, you know? I'm against racism in general. I'm against all that stuff that's negative, because I believe that's a negative in society, you know? I've always believed that racism has no place in our current society. I don't care whether it's discrimination against Muslims or whether it's discrimination against black people. Yeah, but you're assuming that is you're assuming that's everybody, though. You're assuming that's every Muslim. I've met some good Muslims, and they're nice people. You know what? They don't believe that... I don't know, so I was saying this earlier. Everything is down to interpretation. It's interpretation and perception. Some people can sit there, read the Quran or read the fucking Christian Bible, and automatically, in the middle of the Christian Bible, they read, through their perception, I must blow shit up. That's what they read. That's the reason I'm generally against religion, because I think religion is retarded. I'm a spiritual person, don't get me wrong, but I think the concept of religion, or any script that you base your life on, is kind of retarded. Like, we should have a set of morals and ethical rules that we follow, but Jesus fucking Christ, like, seriously, like, some of the shit in the Bible, I'm just like, what the fuck? No, sorry, I'll step a mile away from that. Exactly. I do feel, well, I don't necessarily agree they're evil, I just think they're unwarranted with some of the shit they do. Dude, the same context. Like, because I've looked up cults, man. Do you know how often it was one person controlling the entire fucking crowd of people? And yes, you're right, that's actually true. Most religions, in some essence of context, try to control the minds of their parishioners or their people. Parishioners. I'm being a little bit Catholic religion there. Well, you can tell I was originally Catholic, but that's alright. But this is my point. This is my fucking point. I do believe that religion in itself, in its own context, it just doesn't have a place in modern day society because of how it deals with people. Now, look, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against people having a religion, that's your choice. I don't stop you from having a religion, like, that's freedom to have a religion, I'm not going to stop somebody from having it. But if religion gives you an excuse to be an asshole, that's when I get a problem with you. Because most of the time, not all the time though, religion is used as an excuse to be an asshole. Or a fuckwit. Or just downright fucking nasty and evil. Like, God will forgive me? Really? I see now. So, you know, you just killed that prostitute, chopped her up into tiny bits, and tried to eat her for dinner. Apparently God will forgive you. Interesting. And... yeah. That's exactly the point it gets to. Like, that's exactly the argument that, you know, that religion gives. I'm not saying always, but that's exactly the argument that you get out of religion. God will forgive me. See, the problem is if you ban it outright, you're going to get people who are up in arms because most people are still sheep in the religion. So even if you banned religions outright, the problem you would have is you would have people mass exodus, you know, from government and everything else, and you have a lot of issues because there are religious people in government too. You got to consider that, and you would probably have them revolt. So you would, in context, cause a religious evolution because there's too many sheep around and people who follow it. So that probably would not be the best idea to ban it, because, well, you'd cause, in effect, pretty much a revolution of religious people in general. And it just wouldn't work. That's my point. It's not going to work because some people are still going to practice regardless. Yeah, but do you realise what you just said then? Kill religious people and end cults. You're just as bad as some of the cult members who decide to all basically make them commit mass suicide. No, what I believe with religion is you need to deprogram the people who in question who are religious. Because it's years of propaganda, religious brainwashing, in other words, that has led them to this that has led them to where they are. And by deprogramming people, it's like content of deprogramming them and psychologically reprogramming them to a better end. When we end religion, truly people will be... well, I do believe that having religion is not a positive thing. I think we should just, you know... It's okay to... if you have spiritual beliefs and a spiritual mindset, that's cool. You can practice that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do agree with you that I think religion contributes to a lot of problems in this world. This includes Muslims, Catholics, Christians... Buddhism, not so much. Buddhism is pretty damn tame. Paganism, fuck, I love witches. Just saying. Paganism is pretty tame, too. Actually, paganism is quite cool. They dance around naked. A campfire. But the most the religions that I found that contribute the most inherent violence, well, obviously the Islamic religions. Buddhism doesn't. Christians, Catholics, actually Christians and Catholics have been violent for years, like in the sense of, you know, I killed in the name of God sort of thing in context. But it's always been that way. So, you know, I do believe that those religions probably need to re-examine what role they're serving in the world, to be honest. That's the truth. That's my honest opinion on that. I try to be objective, though. I try to be objective, and I try to give everybody an equal chance. You know, look, if your religion makes you a better person, then fucking fine. You can practice it, whatever. If it makes you a shithouse person, then stop fucking using it as a shield to commit fucking atrocities. If you understand what I'm meaning on that, but yeah, anyway. I'm not saying that religion is inherently bad, but there is obvious reasons why people do bad things, and in a percentage of the times, it's mostly religion that causes it. My God, is there only the one God? Why can't we why can't we just agree to disagree? Like, you know, God is the universe. Let's just say the universe has a balance of positive and negative energy. This energy binds us all together as one. It's not God. It's not the supposed Allah or whatever. It's just the universe. Like, wouldn't that be a better fucking idea than us all sitting here saying, my God's the best, oh my God. It's like a dick measuring competition between gods, you know? Like, my God's better, my fucking God's got a bigger dick than yours, you know what I mean? Like, really, like, that's what it is. It's a fucking dick measuring competition between religions. Oh no, my God's the best. My God has a huge 13-inch penis. Like, really? So, yeah, that's... I mean, it just probably sounds stupid the way I said it. No, it probably sounds quite funny the way I said it, but that's that's my entire point. It's the entire concept of religion is a dick measuring competition between religions. It's like, oh no, my God's the best. My God does it best. My God can fuck twice as hard as yours. I'm just hear fucking Christians now, or fucking Catholics. It's like, blasphemer! That's what I can literally hear. Just somebody in the back. It's like, blasphemer! Oh, fuck. God, I have some fun. I really do have some fun with all the shit I do. Huh? Was it cooked, is it? Alright, I'll come out in a minute. Just leave it on the stove. I'll try and get it in a minute. But like, blasphemer, really? What the fuck? Sorry, that's just I just got that stuck in my head now. It's hilarious. I actually have to agree to a certain extent with the evolution factor. We will evolve better if we try to get away from archaic religious beliefs. I do believe it's not giving our world a lot of context or our world a lot of good things to perpetuate either. You know, it's a bit of a negative thing with having a lot of this stuff going on, but fuck, I don't know. Will the world listen? Who knows? No, the world never does. That's the fucking problem. I think that's really actually the issue. The world at times will just not listen to you. They won't take any notice. They won't pay any attention. It's such a catch-22 thing. It's a problem, you know. It's the issue I find. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. It's good and bad, people. It's good and bad. It's what I've learned. Religion is religion, people. Religion is also a bit jaded. People are biased. I need water. Oh my god. How many hours have I been streaming now? It's a good question. I don't know. I can't. Well, I can't tell from. Can I tell from the live dashboard? Yes, I can because I don't know the live dashboard. Hold on, let me just check. I've been streaming for. Hello. Hello. Oh, there we go. Streaming. I've been streaming for 2 hours 37 minutes, 28, 29. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, so I've been streaming for that long. Wow, it's not bad. It's not the least I've done. So I've done 6 hours and 9 hours one day. So it's not too bad for streaming. Okay. All right. Crazy shit. I have been so I've been posting a lot to Twitter lately, and the only reason I've been posting on Twitter is because I've temporarily been banned from Facebook. If people didn't know that, but actually, this whole entire thing started with Facebook and their fucking free speech issue, which is pretty much the fact that Facebook is trying to kill free speech. So the other night I was getting a bit drunk. I had a few wines. Was on a couple of different Facebook groups, and I decided to stream live on my phone. Had my phone in front of me, everything like that. And I took my shirt off, because, you do that when you're a bit drunk, and generally I get hotter when I have a few drinks. And plus, well, no, like, my body temperature rises. But yeah, I did that, and they banned me for nudity. Apparently my man boobs are nudity. I didn't know this. I didn't know that a woman could actually have a hairy chest. I was well unaware of that. Like, seriously. It kind of got me with that, because somebody reported my profile previously, and I got banned, and basically all they did was ban me for, like, 24 hours from posting anything on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, okay. So apparently there was it was a shirtless photo, one shirtless photo, mind you, and it was me shirtless, and that was the one photo that got fucking kicked off my profile. I don't think it's there anymore. And then I decided to go on, have a couple of drinks, enjoy myself, relax, have a bit of fun. And of the irony of that, I get banned for 3 days. I get banned for 3 days off Facebook. Not banned, but I got blocked from posting things. As I said, for me, it's a bit of a big thing, because I do a lot of my marketing stuff and things like that on Facebook. So it can be a bit of an issue when you get banned. Now, the irony of that is, though, I mean, okay, I've probably done a couple of stupid things. Like, I've done trolling and stuff in the past, and I've done things like that. I've probably done a couple of stupid things when drunk in the past, but most of the time, percentage of the bans that I've only ever been like blocked off from doing those things a couple of times. And the first few times that it happens, I could see them as legitimate reasons, maybe. I mean, the other side of it too is I was taking the piss and I was fucking trolling. So, I mean, it may have seemed like abusive behaviour, but it wasn't really abusive behaviour. It was just me being a smartass. The weird part about that, though, is then somebody, when they couldn't tag me because I was being a bit more tamer about what I was saying, couldn't tag me for that. I got tagged for being nude, and apparently me being shirtless isn't being nude. I mean, I had pants on. That's my point. So, I mean, shirtless to me is not nude. How the fuck is that nude? That doesn't even make sense. And I instantly after that decided to myself, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I looked up the what was going on with a lot of other YouTubers and other people, and apparently people have the same problem. They have the same freaking issue. Is that they got banned simply for voicing their opinion. They actually got banned for voicing their opinion. Basically, it's like, oh, I feel this way about religion, I feel this way about that, or something like that. This is my point. I was just talking about religion there. This is on YouTube, right? They got banned because of that, and they got banned because apparently they posted something controversial or taboo, which I'm pretty sure that's what most of it's all about. But that's the fucking stupid part that I couldn't get with like the free speech thing. Like, basically they're censoring shit. Now, the irony of this, the irony of fucking that, though, is, you know what the fucking irony of that is? I'm in a few groups, and then people are literally posting fucking porn to the fucking pages, and they're not getting tagged for it. And I get tagged for getting drunk and getting shirtless. Fuck you, Facebook. That's all I have to say. That's pretty much what I have to say about Facebook. And their admins and their reporters, they can go suck a dick. Because they're all fucking retards, obviously. If they're that sensitive about shit, and they're whiny little fucking bitches. Clearly they fucking are. But this is my entire fucking point. I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? So basically I got banned for stupid shit. For having a bit of fun, getting a bit drunk, having a bit of a smoke and relaxing. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so, you know, Facebook's not the free reign platform it used to fucking be, apparently. And, you know, it's like, oh yeah, fuck you, Facebook, fuck it. I mean, look, at the end of it, I'm kind of scratching my head on that. Because I can't for the life of me understand what the fuck is going on in people's heads. Like, don't get me wrong. There's always going to be people who post controversial subjects. I've always been one of those people that pushes the letter when it comes to controversial subjects. I like talking about different things. Whether it's government agencies or whether it's the fact that things fail. What? What did you say, Dad? What'd you say? Oh, yeah, no, well, it's a bit hard because I'm streaming at the moment. I'll come and just leave it there if I need to hit it up. It's alright, it's fine. But yeah, no, I mean, that's my point. I push the envelope of things that I say. I realise this, but I push them in a good way. That the sense that we don't need a fucking insensitive population of pansies who can't fucking deal with a simple controversial subject. And it's kind of shit that people go that direction, but oh my fucking god, like, the way people think, the way people, you know, have their mindset these days, you know, there's just a lot of sensitive people out there. I mean, you know, I'm sensitive about some subjects in my life, I admit that, but I'm not sensitive about every single fucking subject. I'm pretty lenient and pretty laid back about most things, you know? My point is, they banned me for 3 days. I mean, I've still got a little bit more of the ban to go, and then I'm done. But, you know, I'm kind of pissed because there's no reason why they should have banned me, firstly. Because all I was doing was having a bit of fun. That was one part of it. But then I'm guessing it's probably a combination of somebody reported me, and then somebody looked at my video and they saw me shirtless. And they assumed that I was a nude. Now, mind you, considering that I was sitting here with a glass of wine, and you can only see me from the shirt up, or this area here, up, I can understand how that mistake might happen. But I wasn't sitting here naked. I had pants on. I had these fucking pants on right here. That's my point. I had these cunts on. You know what I mean? And that's entirely my point. I wasn't sitting there naked, you know? The other side of it too is I have enough fucking sense to not put myself jacking off on fucking Facebook. You know what I mean? That's what Pornhub's for. If I'm gonna... Well, actually, I do have my own Pornhub. That's not the point. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is... or the things that I'm trying to get across to you fucking guys... is that I got banned for stupid reasons, you know? For a stupid reason that had no relevance. I got banned for a picture that I had in my profile that apparently just showed me shirtless, and that's pretty much what was the picture, and that's the one that they tagged. And I'm like, fuck off, that's not fuck. I'm like, what the fuck? Firstly, okay, the first side of it, and I had somebody say, it's a little bit, they probably reckon you're a woman. Okay, firstly, have you seen a fucking woman that looks like a fucking hairy orangutan cunt? Seriously, like, what the fuck? I am not a woman. That's the first part of it. I have enough fucking chest hair to cover Czechoslovakia, cunt. And I'm telling you, I've never seen a woman fucking hairier. Well, I've never seen fucking a woman as hairy as a fucking orangutan. And if I do, it's probably a man. It's my fucking point. Like, what the fuck? Seriously. Other thing too is I'm a bald. Well, if I had the bald head and everything else going there, but I mean, fuck, I look like a giant fucking dildo. What the fuck? Well, that's how I feel about myself anyway. But well, at the moment I do, I think. But you know, it's funny though. Speaking of that, what the fuck was I watching? Oh yeah, that was quite funny too. I was watching it the other day. No, I was watching it before. No. It was a while back. Fucking, you know, some fucking weird ass subject I was talking about. No, that's right. I was trying to make a joke and I was trolling back at someone and I said, it's like, well, you know, dude, but you're fucking, you know, well, what was his comment? He said to me, he said I wasn't a cunt because I was useless. And I said, dude, how am I useless? Because in the first place, I turned around and said to him, dude, I've seen porn where bald-headed motherfuckers like myself use their entire head to shove up a woman's vagina. That was some porn I watched, fucked up porn I watched a long time ago. Wasn't interesting to watch, though. Got to admit. It's interesting watching a man shoving his entire fucking head up there. Not something I'd watch on a regular basis, but it's just, you know, you're clicking around the internet. What do you expect? But anyway, I said that to him, and I got an "oh my god" comment out of it. And I'm like, it cracked me up. It cracked me up because I actually ended up getting a reaction out of him on it. But yeah, no, this is the other thing too. I think some people are too conservative and they're prudish. I've never been a prude. I've always been a bit pervy myself, right? And I've never been a prude about my sexuality. I've never been a prude about sex in general. I don't mind talking about the subject, and I don't mind expressing myself about the subject either. You think that video was fake? Distinctly possible. I have actually seen the video, and I could say, honestly, it did look a bit fake. Mainly because the vagina really didn't look that real. Like, if you look at it, it would sort of look a bit plasticky, so it sort of gave me... I don't know. I mean, without actually, you know, pulling apart the video, to be honest, it might be hard to tell exactly what happened, but, I don't know. I was just going by the video at the time. But that video has been around for years, you know. I saw that video before most people would say it got popular. And it's been around for fucking years. There's a ton of those sort of porn videos and stuff that are going around, and they've been around for fucking years. There's a few that I can think were fake, but there's a few that I just look at and I go, yeah, okay, that's definitely real, okay, alright. I can't unsee that anymore. Mind you, I've seen some disturbing shit on the net. I admit that. I've seen some shit, I've just gone, oh my fucking god. What the fuck was this cunt thinking? But the thing is, everybody's inherently different, you know? As I said, I've had situations where that's happened to me, and... I don't know, anyway, the Facebook ban was unfair. I thought it was unfair, it was unwarranted, and it was just the fact that they were being picky about what... you know, basically, because it was the fucking fun police pretty much coming to my party and saying, fuck no, you can't do this anymore. That's pretty much what it was. I'm sorry, so the fun police just said, oh, no, fuck you, you know, it's like, fuck you, you can't have fun anymore, sort of thing. But this is my point. I don't get that. Like, okay, firstly, it's my own personal Facebook. I was posting to private groups that were not necessarily publicly accessible. I know that for a fact because some of them had to close themselves off because of some of the trollish shit that they did, and the reason a couple of times they ended up getting reported, you know? And that's my point about this shit, or that's my entire point, right? I mean, okay, there's probably people recording shit, but I don't get people, like, you know, people say they're okay with something, or... I don't take it as a compliment. I take it as an insult, sort of. I'll tell you why. Because they're basically saying... okay, it's pretty much the equivalent of Facebook making a fat joke about me. So pretty much what they're saying is, you're a fat cunt, right? That's what they're saying. You're a fat cunt, right? And we're going to ban you because we don't like your man boobies. Maybe that's just how I see it. But from a legal standpoint, I could actually argue that with a lawyer. It's like, well, you know, pretty much I was being bullied by Facebook. They're pretty much calling me a fat cunt. I mean, not in so many words, but like you could probably actually legally argue that with a lawyer. Like you could probably get a lawyer to argue that for you, right? In being banned for that. I could argue. Well, yeah, you could argue that. Yeah, I'm just saying, you could actually argue that. So this is the point. I'm the type of person who thinks about shit like that. See, somebody else, they just shrug it off or something like that. Me, I actually go back and think about that stuff and think, how could I work this to my advantage? And that's entirely my fucking point. Like, ironically, that's fucking hilarious. This is my point. As I said, you could actually work it to your advantage if you wanted to. Maybe I'm just one of those people who sees advantages like that. I don't know. Sue them for millions. I probably could, you know. I mean, depending on the situation, of course. But yeah, the other thing too is, like, you know, I figured in the long. I mean, if I would ever do anything like that, I'd probably gather more evidence than I've got now. I haven't got quite enough evidence yet. See, that's what you do if you are actually going to sue someone. You gather evidence on them in the first place, like heaps of evidence, heaps of different levels of evidence. What you do is you get a bunch of, whether it's recordings or videos or audio files or whatever, and you make sure, not just that, you also keep documentation as well. That's something I've learned. If you ever want to get into a lawsuit with someone, keep your documentation, have recordings, and make sure you always record the conversations you have with those individuals. It's just smart. But yeah, that's my point, you know. Beside the point anyway. Not the point I'm trying to get into at this point. But yeah, no, like, I mean, as I said, I've had some good days and bad days. Anyway, I think that's the thing that probably got me the most is that, anyway, Facebook fucking had a, you know, chucked the shits at me because apparently I was, you know, I was drunk and I was having fun, and, you know, that's against Facebook policies to have fun. Fucking fun police. But no, it's alright. I've already got a day or so to go on the ban anyway, but then I can post back on Facebook. But the irony of that is, like, the shit that I've had to deal with Facebook. I mean, Facebook isn't immediately bad. I've had a pretty positive experience up until now. And I've had a pretty positive experience up until now with them. I haven't had any major issues. Most of the time, I've been pretty good. And I mean, I've got a, you know, separate business page thing that I do as well. You know, my hobby business. But I don't know. Anyway, not the point. I don't know. As I said, I try my best. I try to do my best with most things, and I don't know. It just got me, like, just that ban plus the other 24-hour ban that I got previously. Those two bans that they ended up putting, or those two blocks they ended up putting on me for posting at that time was, I think, fucking fairly unfair to me as a person. You know what I mean? The first part of it is, okay, technically under disability, not just that, not just disability discrimination, but mental illness discrimination, and in combination of that. Firstly, I take medications that affect my weight. So I technically can't help the way I look. So in essence of context, what I could really say is Facebook was actually picking on me for my weight, being a bigger person or bigger individual. And what you were, in essence of context, saying, Facebook, is I'm a fat cunt, and you're pretty much trying to put me down because of the fact that I'm fat. And you're trying to say that, you know, I mean, that in my mind is a form of discrimination. Well, it is. I mean, it's, if you look over the disability laws and discrimination laws, that is actually probably most likely a discrimination, because, well, they're always fucking adding new laws, and this is my point. I know with disabilities and mental issues and stuff, you can actually get free. Say you're trying to be employed by someone. Legally, you can sue them if they choose not to take you because of your mental issues, right? That's actually part of the system in Australia, because of disability laws that have been in place in Australia since then. So that is something that is actually in place in my own country, which is, you know, as I said, mental illness is a common thing in Australia. I mean, it's common in America, but the problem with America is that, at the end of it, America doesn't give a fuck about the mentally ill. I'll be honest. They could give a shit less. Hence why, every so often, there's a mad cunt who goes off and shoots people with a gun. I'm sorry, but I hate to say this, but mentally ill, if you're mentally ill in America and you don't have some type of income and things to back you up, you will get your ass handed to you by the system, because they simply don't care about people with mental illnesses. Inherently, they don't. The public healthcare system in America is a pile of shit. I know, because I've spoken to plenty of people from America, and I know for a fact that it is a pile of shit. It doesn't look after anybody. It doesn't help them out. It doesn't give them tax breaks. It doesn't do anything of that nature. Not just that, but it, like, trying to get your medication, fuck, try and do that in America. Like, this is my fucking point. Like, this is how bad America is in treating their mentally ill individuals. You know? Particularly veterans. You know? And the one thing I would never want to do in my mind is not look after a veteran. Firstly, because they've had experience with explosives and they can probably blow your motherfucking ass up. Or either that or they'll grab a gun and start shooting the living fuck out of you. And this is my point. This is my point that I'm trying to make. Why America has issues. I don't say all of America has issues, but parts of it does. The reason America has issues is because of the healthcare system. It's not working for people because it's not giving them enough. I'd have to say that our healthcare system's not too bad. You get most things for free. Some things you might have to pay a little bit for. But my point is, Australia as a general healthcare system next to America, we've got like a gold presidency, you know, we've got like a fucking golden system, you know, in comparison. Most healthcare is available free. Most prescription medicines in Australia are per script box and everything else. Most of the time they only cost you about $10 to buy a typical. They have this thing called the PBS. It's basically it's a system where they offer you scripts, but at really low prices. I mean, normally they charge you $30 for a box of Prozac, but you can get the box of Prozac for like freaking $10 or something. Well, actually, sorry, you can get two. You can get an antipsychotic and an antidepressant for $10, basically, and that's what you pay when you go to a chemist. So yeah, that's Australia's medical system. Not just that, but most doctors don't charge you every time that you go to them. There's a bulk billing system that is run by the government, which actually pays for most medical treatments. You know, unless it's a major issue. But I mean, it hasn't. Yeah, UK medicines, I would think they'd have a better system. They'd have a very similar sort of system to Europe and a similar system to Australia. But the US, no, I'm sorry, I don't think they do. That's the thing. I don't think the US actually does have that type of system in place. The US is just, as I said, they don't look... Look, at the end of it, I'll put it this way, if I ever moved to America, I'd have to have a system in place where firstly, I'd have to have enough money to move there. That's part of it. Secondly, I'd have to have enough backup income in case I fell on hard times because of my mental issues, that I wouldn't have an issue going on with things. That is the thing about mental illness. Doesn't matter who you are or what walk of life you come from. If you get a mental illness, it can be so debilitating you won't be able to work. Especially if it's mental stress and other things. Because, I'll be honest, most days I'm pretty good. Most days I can get out of bed and I can do something. There's other days, the opposite days, where I literally can't pull my head off the pillow because of how fucking crippled I am mentally. You know what I mean? And this is my point. With people with mental illness, they can go from one extreme. It can go from one day to the next. One day you feel like God and you feel like you can take on the entire fucking universe. The next day you feel like you're being hit by you feel like somebody just dropped a ton of bricks on you and you can't get the fuck up because you're covered in bricks. Basically. It's also lack of motivation sometimes with mental illness. That can be a problem as well. Finding motivation on certain days when you really want to be motivated, but you just don't have the energy, mentally speaking. I mean, you may have some physical energy, but mental energy and physical energy are two different things, and they always have been to me. Especially these days. But yes, America, its system, not that great. I mean, the way they treat their veterans, the way they treat the mentally ill, it's shit. I'm sorry, it's simply that, it's shit. And I think America has to answer for that shit, because that's kind of fucked that you don't treat your mentally ill very well. Firstly, that's probably the dumbest thing they could have done, in the sense of treating the mentally ill that way. Because, okay, most mentally ill people are pretty smart. That's the truth. As they say, there's all, like, at the end of it, insanity, the line between genius and insanity is a very thin one. And always has been a very thin one. It always will be a very thin one. And the truth is, Most people who have some type of mental illness are extremely smart in certain ways. It's amazing. Like, it's amazing that they are as smart as they are. But this is my point. You know, whether it's to build weapons or build otherwise, most of these people have some experience with that. You know, particularly if they're electrical engineers or if they're, you know, for example, I don't mean, even somebody like me, for example, you know, a technician who builds computers, you know, I'm always mucking around and building things. That's my point. It's the same context with most mentally ill people. They might be creative at times and do want to do certain things, you know. But the truth is, you mistreat those people, you're more likely to piss them off because they know that they're being mistreated. Because there's always been this stigma attached to people with mental illness. And most mentally ill people will tell you there's a stigma attached to everything that you do when you're mentally ill. It's not just a stigma, but you feel like you're being shunned by society most of the time. You feel like you're being pushed out of society. You feel like you're being walked on. And in most cases, you feel like nobody cares. This is not always the case, but there's always going to be those situations where that happens. But you know, that's unfortunately life sometimes. But I've concluded though, with some people, they don't pay attention to that fact. You know, well, as I said, especially with America, because I had to say there's really some dumb, ignorant. Not everybody in America is dumb and ignorant, but there's some dumb and ignorant people that I've met in America, who all they see is their own needs, and they're pretty fucking selfish. Then there's some people who in America who see the rest of the world, and they see what the rest of the world goes through, and they understand why the rest of the world reacts the way they do. You know, and they understand. But there's also this ones that just, no, they're self-orientated, and all they care about is themselves, and all they care about is what's, you know, pretty much what. Well, it's all about them. It's all about money. It's all about them. So I think there's another thing too with America. They focus more on their money. It's a big money thing. Jeebus monkeys. I actually agree with you. That sounds kind of fucked. I mean, I probably wouldn't use that term correctly, but I mean, I'd say the vast majority of certain parts of the South and other places, the vast majority of America is Christian. Yep. Christian, Catholic combination of. And I'm not trying to badmouth Christians or Catholics, but I'm trying to point out that most of the Christians and the Catholics that are out there, they have an ignorant view on the world. They don't understand how the world really works. They see what they see, but they don't necessarily perceive it as negative at all. You know, and I don't know, you can call me a bit cynical sometimes with some of the things I say, but I think what I have to say most of the time is relevant, you know? And you know what? I don't think it's all Americans that are that way, but I think there's some Americans who clearly have their own... Some that have their head up their ass, basically. That's probably the issue. I think that is the issue, really. Yeah, but then there's some fucking people who basically have their head up their ass most of their life. Oh, wow. You know what? I figure I'm gonna piss people off at some point. I know I have. I'm damn sure of it, to be honest. I'm damn sure that I've pissed people off. I'm damn sure that I've annoyed them, and I'm damn sure that I've caused some controversy about subjects in their life because they've looked at what I've said, or they've watched a video that I've had, or you know they've done some other thing, or they've seen a comment that I've made on Facebook or something, and you know they've just gone fucking shit-stirring arsehole. But you know what? I've always been a shit-stirrer. Not just a shit-stirrer, but I've always been a bit of a troll. But I don't always troll. Sometimes I'll just point facts out to people, and I'll point the facts out. You know, I'll give them straight facts. I'm not going to lie to people. Fuck. You know, it's just amazing, really, but... Oh, fuck me. Wow. See, normally I post on Facebook. Well, actually, I have other data accounts I use to post on Facebook as well, where I do some trolling stuff anyway, but... Normally I'll post on my own Facebook in most cases. I don't know, I'm going to try and make it a more regular occurrence now of posting on YouTube and Twitch, because I do need to gather more followers, and I do need to make, well, I don't know. Firstly, I need more subs. Secondly, I need more followers on my Twitch. Then I need to grow these things. On top of that, I recently just started to make some money out of YouTube. Actually make something out of it. Like, there's actually some money involved in it. Because, I mean, for a while, I really wasn't, I wasn't doing that overly that well with it. But it's only recently that I've just money started to trickle down, and effectively I have got paid already from them. I mean, it wasn't a massive amount of money, but, it was enough to keep some of my bills paid and shit like that, so I was pretty happy with it. But I know with most YouTube channels, you can make, let's say, 2,000. I think it's per 1,000 hits that you're supposed to be able to get. Like, put it this way, it pays out a fair amount after every 1,000 hits. So if you get 1,000 hits on a video, pretty much it pays you a nice amount, put it that way. So, I mean, look, I don't know, but to be honest, the other thing too is, I mean, I could put money into advertisement for this, but I think I've got a strong enough personality to drive it forward on my own, and I've been doing it for years. That's my point. I've been doing it for near on 10 or 11 years now. Like, not just YouTube, but I've been doing my repairs and stuff as well. I've been doing it long enough to say that I've got enough of a strong personality when it comes to my tech side of things. And look, put it this way, I've only ever paid for advertisement a few times in my life for my YouTube channel. And yes, it did make a certain degree of difference, but I don't want to have to put money into things all the time. And I mean, to be honest, once I start making more out of it, I don't mind putting money back into it. But YouTube can be a bit flaky sometimes. And then the other issue is, if you pick on controversial subjects, sometimes your videos can be a little bit chastised because of it, and that's the other problem as well. So it's kind of sad, really. I shouldn't have a fucking problem with me putting some controversial subjects down and me being the way I am. Like, what the fuck. But no, Facebook really do hate free speech. That's the problem. I mean, they fucking hate it with a passion. YouTube doesn't mind free speech, because I'd see a lot of videos of people going on YouTube and being more expressive. Not just more expressive, but they're actually, damn, I really need, what is that from? I think that's from, it's a grease stain, so I actually need to use a better fabric softener. No, a better cleaning, actually. I need to get a better cleaner. Are you allowed to swear on YouTube? Most fucking people do. I've not seen it. There isn't a channel that I'm not subscribed to that I haven't seen who doesn't swear. Well, actually, there's some people who swear, but the thing is, the difference is, it depends on the channel. Some channels that people just swear all the time. It's pretty much, it's a common hear swearing on the channel, but it all depends on whether you're causing controversy or not, or depends on what you're doing too. That's the fucking problem. I've learned that I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with swearing. When it's appropriate to swear and there's a situation where it's required, it's good to do it. Put it this way, I don't have to swear all the time. I can just be normal and really, really, charming with my English, of course. But sometimes I think it's just necessary because it just puts more emphasis on what you're saying. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Right. Okay, so yeah. Is swearing allowed on YouTube? I haven't seen a video that you can't do swearing in, to be honest. When I do swear, it's not always derogatory or sexual. I think that's the only time you really get tagged if, like, you're doing some sort of sexual stuff or there's some type of sexual thing on YouTube that you might be doing. I've never been the type of person to do that. I mean, sometimes it's derogatory if I make a comment on a video that I've seen, a porn video or something like that, but no, typically, in most cases, when it comes to swearing, I don't know, I've seen a fuck ton of videos that people swear. I mean, put it this way, it's not as if people swear all the time, but I've seen a ton of people who do swear. And you know what? I don't have a problem with swearing. I don't have an issue with it. You know, it's just normal for me. It's normal everyday life. I mean, my dad swears all the freaking time. He swears like a sailor. You know. The other side of it too is sometimes I don't necessarily swear when I'm out. Say, for example, I'm going out to a place that I know where people can't necessarily handle it as much. I might, you know, cut back on the language that I'm trying to put across. But that's normally just to save face, you know, and be a bit more tactful. When I'm talking to a client and I'm doing repairs, I don't necessarily swear. Actually no, I rarely swear in front of clients. Normally when I'm doing repairs or anything like that, it's not something I do. Yeah. Yep. I'd definitely say. Yep. I don't swear in front of clients. I've never done that. It's never been something I do. But that's just good business ethic, anyway. But if it's me doing my content for YouTube, it's a different thing, you know. I feel the internet should be sort of the neutral ground for things like that. I always have believed that that's how the internet should be. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, to be honest. Other side of it too is, you know, I've had my nieces and my nephews. Now, I've never been the type to be kid friendly. Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, I get along with my nieces and nephews. I've looked after them and babysat them over the years. But I've always been one of these types of people that I do things my own way. I always have been. The problem that I find is, you know, I mean, I would probably want to appeal more to an adult audience than I would to somebody who's younger. Not that I have anything against people who are younger, because I've known it. As I said, I know a few. You know, it's just that. I mean, I've met a few playing games online as well. But I more orientate towards people who are older. Not that I have any... I mean, the funny part is, though, I found some younger kids, you know, not just kids, teens in combination of, who are quite mature. They're pretty damn mature for their age in how they treat things and how they treat people. And you know what? That's good. It's good to have maturity. There's nothing wrong with maturity. But I try to take a responsibility for my actions as well. You know, I try to take a certain degree of responsibility for things that I do, and I have done in the past. Put it this way, I've always been a responsible adult. If I needed to look after my nieces or nephews, I always would. You know, I always made sure that I did the right thing by them. Always made sure they had enough food. Always made sure that they, you know, if they had medications, that they took their medications on time. The other side of it too is a lot of the times it'd be the opposite. You know, with the boys and my nephews and stuff, we'd play a couple of games, like, you know, play a few computer games or something. And the truth is, I mean, I think most kids at some point get exposed to some type of swearing, whether it's through their own parents or whether it's through the internet. I'm also a big believer that I think to a certain extent you should monitor what your kids do on the internet too. That's one side of it as well. For me, anything like that, I could, like, when I had my nephews and my nieces and so, because I had them living, well, I had one living with me for a while, and anything that I didn't really want him to get into too much, I would block it on the router, because I know how to block it on the router level. So if it's anything I really didn't want him to have a look at, I'd block it, obviously. The other thing too is most of my nieces and nephews are pretty immature for their age. You know, that's the thing. Yeah, they're pretty mature. They're really fairly mature for their age. My niece though, I mean, she has her issues, but I mean that's just because of her current current mental issues that she's got going on. But that's fine. I mean, look, you know, that's going to happen. But I mean, the boys and the boys at Jacob, Lachlan, and Timmy, I always get along with them because most of the time, we were into the same sort of stuff. We might watch YouTube videos or we might muck around with computer games or whatever. I mean, I love them to bits. Actually, my niece, a few days ago, which would have been a stream of it, she was in here, she was sitting here on the computer playing a game. I think it was some adventure game or something. And I was sitting here playing the Xbox and just doing a bunch of stuff. And I mean, at the end of it, I don't know, I have always been a pretty responsible adult in most cases. And I always try to remain that way, especially when, I mean, there's certain things that you say around kids, there's certain things that are okay to say, there's certain things I think that could probably wait. But, at the end of it, you don't want to lie to your kids either. You don't want to actually lie to them and tell them no truths about the world, because they'll grow up, I mean, put it this way, you don't want to wrap them in fucking cotton wool. You want to expose them to a bit of the grit that the world has. I mean, you don't want to expose every part of it, but, some parts are okay, because I think it builds character, builds strength, and stops them from having a weaker personality type. On top of that, it shows them what the world's like. You know what I mean? And I think that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I was one of those kids that I grew up rolling around in the mud. Fucking. And if I did something fucking bad, I got the shit spanked out of me because of it. You know what I mean? Fucking got hit over the fucking head or the ass or whatever. Fucking, this is my point. That was normal for me growing up. If I did something stupid, that's my point. If I did something, not just something stupid, but say, for example, I was misbehaving extremely, my parents didn't have a problem disciplining me. They didn't have a problem telling me what I'd done wrong. And they didn't have a problem, whacking me over the ass. I think that's the problem with these days. Some kids are so fucking... nobody is disciplining their kids anymore, in the sense of, whacking them over the ass when they do something fucking wrong, or, I mean, it's like, oh, no, that's abuse. No, I'm sorry. It's not fucking abuse. It's showing your child that there's a difference between right and wrong. It's knowing the difference between right and wrong. And I'm sorry, but... Simply put, it's fucking retarded that we live in a society so closed off to disciplining your own fucking child that we are now growing up with a bunch of arseholes, like a generation of arseholes, pretty much. Because they never got taught a fucking lesson, And you know what? At the end of it, I think in the long term, living in a society like that can be fucked because of just the way people treat things, or how they treat others. I mean, this is probably a good example, why people get away with certain shit, why they shouldn't get away with things, I think there's too many kids that get away with a lot of things they shouldn't be getting away with, and I don't know, most of the my nephews are pretty good because they're pretty intelligent. They work things out for themselves. Not just that, but I've also tried to instill a good ethical and moral boundary system with them as well. For the years that they've known me, I always try to be as open, not just as open as I can be, but try to be as collective about how things work, you know what I mean? And I've always tried my best to do that. And, I've always tried my best to do that system. The other side of it too, well, I've tried my best, but yeah, it doesn't always work out that way. But yeah, that's the point. For the life of me, I'm yet to understand why some kids these days, whether it's how they treat adults or how they disrespect an adult, they can't find any level of respect, And I was always, as a kid, told or taught to respect my elders. Always. I was always taught to respect my elders and people older than me. They are older, wiser. Now, wisdom and intelligence are two different things. You can be the most intelligent motherfucker on the planet, but wisdom and intelligence are two different fucking things. Wisdom shows that you've lived a life and you've had more life experience. Intelligence shows that you know how to do things and you learn quickly. Two different contexts. So just because somebody's intelligent doesn't mean they know fucking everything. There can be somebody older and wiser who has more knowledge and more experience than they do. That's the truth. Just saying. At the end of it, I've always been taught to respect my elders. And that's what I've done. I respect my dad. I respect his space. He respects mine. I respect my dad's... I respect my dad because, okay, firstly, he's a tough old bugger. You know what I mean? He's older than me, yes. But he's a tough old bugger, and he always has been, you know? He's the type of guy who can still go out, you know, have a few drinks, and, you know, he can still run around and do a lot of the stuff that he was able to do when he was younger. I mean, there's still, you know, he's getting a bit older now. He's obviously fairly older now, but, you know, he's able to run around. He's, you know, I think the only complaint he's had these days is just, you know, he gets a bit of a sore knee sometimes, and I think it's because of the weather. And, but he's going well for his age, you know. He's in a good place. He is... We'll put it this way, he's in a good place. He always, like, you know, he's always been the type of guy... What the hell, did they remove my fucking video? Fucking assholes, they removed my video. How the fuck does that work? I'm fucking sick of Facebook. What a bunch of fucking cunts. So, I had a video, right? Is it still there? No, no, it is. Never mind. Alright, never mind. I was going to say, like, what the fuck did they remove that video? Because that video wasn't even shirtless, so... No, it's got a good video there. Okay, no, I just didn't... I was like, oh, what the hell? Where's the video? Bastards. Why did that get... Ah, okay. Right. No, that's right. It's fine. It's just stupid. Every so often, I'll go into this system, right? I'll go to this damn system, right? Oh, well, sorry, into the system for this, and that's freaking stupid. But anyway, okay. Fuck! Wear a bra. What the fuck? You know what I say to bras? No bra for me, bro. Because there's just no bra. Bro bra? Bro bra. Seriously, I've seen women... I know women with bigger tits than what I've got. Fucking hell. Like, seriously? What the fuck? My man boobies are comparatively small. Like, really? My fucking boobies. I like my boobies. I have nothing against man boobs. Man boobs are an entitlement. Actually, I know the reason I have them, though. It's actually to do with my antipsychotic medication. It is actually a proven fact. I actually looked it up. But apparently it is actually a side effect of risperidone. That it causes man boobs. Interesting, that, eh? I looked it up. I was reading it a while back, but what the fuck is the article? I'll have to find it, though. I did. I think I had it bookmarked. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. There we go. Risperidone. How the fuck do you spell that? Risperidone! There we go. There we go. Yes, yes, here it is. Okay. So I'll actually show you. Shit. Split. Alright. So yeah.
I mean, I had bigger boobs than girls in school. The doctor they swore up and down it wasn't the medicine. Well, it wound up being the medicine. His doctor.
The risperidone, an antipsychotic medication, people. It causes man boobs. That's right, man boobs. Man boobs. So, how the fuck is that shit, man? Health problems. Don't you love risperidone? That's my antipsychotic medication, mind you. I think it was the one I looked at, actually. Apparently they're going to sue cunts over the... Well, somebody is supposedly... Fuck, I should probably do that. I probably should have fucking thought of that first. This is my point. Man boobs, man. Man boobs are caused by this medication. So how fucking stupid is that? And how fucked is it at the same time? So yeah. How is that shit, eh? What the fuck is that shit, motherfucker? Where's my red? Fuck. Alright, there we go. That's probably easier to read now. I did not realise this, but after reading up on it, I'm like, fuck me sideways. So apparently my medication is an asshole. So this is my point. I take the drugs that the government tells me to take. And what do I get for my trouble? These fucking cunts. See these cunts? I get these cunts. Not that these cunts are that big to start with. But seriously, no, like, what the fuck's that shit, eh? Hence the reason I fucking hate government. Or pharmaceutical companies / government sort of mixing with each other in Australia. It's a big thing, so fuck yeah, totally. Pack of cunts. That's all I'm going to say. Pack of cunts. Anyway, back to where I was. So anyway. But that's entirely my fucking point. Like, as I said, people can turn around and say that, oh no, you're full of shit, this is all fucking I don't know. Fucking, people have turned around and accused me, I don't know, actually people haven't accused me of talking bullshit, because that's never been an issue. People have accused me of talking a lot, and I can verbal diarrhea a lot, I can talk a lot about shit. But, you know, I've never been accused of bullshitting someone or lying to someone, because I don't. I try to get my facts straight when I do something. I mean, it'd be stupid if I tried to bullshit someone out of something or fucking with someone in that sense. Fucking stupid shit. I've been around the world, I'm a wandering boy. I'm a wanderer, I'm a wanderer. I go wandering around. Alright. As I said, I'm kind of getting pissed with, as I said, I was pissed off with Facebook because of the fact that they banned me. And it was only a temporary ban, I realised this, but I think that's probably the shit that got me the most. It's like, what the fuck, okay. Or ban, or block, actually, more than anything else. But this is my fucking point. As I said, I couldn't work it out. What the fuck is with that shit? Watson. Elementary, my dear Watson. Look at this case. We need to find your penis. Fuck, I was being stupid. Wow. Oh my god. I can say the most random shit though. I admit though, I do say some stupid shit just to see what people's reactions are. Oh. Oh, fuck me. Wow. Fucking sideways. That is amazing. So apparently, terrorism is right in this country. Terrorism is everywhere. I don't know. At this point, I just want to grow my fucking Twitter followers. Well, I've actually got a relative amount now, but I want to get more Twitter followers, YouTube subscribers, and more views, obviously, and of course more Twitch subscribers or followers. And I have to regularly be doing stuff to be able to do that. I have to regularly be online and streaming. I don't know, I haven't been majorly busy with computer repairs lately, so hence the reason I've probably been doing a bit more streaming of late. There's the other side too, is that when I do end up getting busy with computer repairs, I use computer repairs primarily I use them as a primary, like, put it this way, I put them first. They come at the top of my list if I've got a piece to repair, because I always like to get it out of the way. It's interesting. Hmm. .28 positive. How the fuck does it... Oh, okay. No, never mind. Pappies. Looks like they got hacked. So I was just looking at somebody, because I'm in one of the some of the scamming groups and other things. Oh, not scammer watch groups. That's it. Some of the scammer watch groups, and that's a hacked account, man. That has to be, because all of his comments are positive. But he's now selling iPads and iPhones and shit for like $49 or $20 or something. What the fuck? Yeah, that is a hacked account, man. Has to be. Selling random electronics for like fucking cheap as chips. Go back and let me just check his feedback and see if he's ever sold any items like that. That to me is painting. That paints it as a fake, not a fake account, but a hacked account. That's just, you can tell that straight away. What the fuck? What did he sell? Okay, so firstly, he's only selling car parts. Wooden clock. So he's got a lot of positives for buying. Feedback as a seller. So this guy has 3,000 something. 3,000 something feedback. I can't comment on it, unfortunately, because I'm blocked from posting, but that looks like a hacked account. Because okay, I'll show you. see. So this is the account that was put. This was the group I'm in, which is PC gaming and building enthusiasts. So I always muck around with these guys. There's some interesting people in there though. I spent a long time selling legitimately feedback. How does someone get almost this amount of feedback just turn and start scamming? Well, no. Firstly, that's a hacked account. Has to be because if you look at the feedback of the account itself. Okay, firstly, the items they're selling is like $49 for a fucking iPad, Apple iPad. Yeah, get fucked. That's about as legitimate as a fucking $2 hooker. So, looking at the feedback, it's mostly garage switches and horns and exhausts and car parts, some of it. But if you look at all this feedback, it's saying it's basically positive, but it's none of the items that he's currently selling. She's selling 23 of them, so obviously that was a hacked account. What I'm guessing is what I'm guessing has happened is he's clicked on some type of thing and he's fell for a phishing scam, most likely, which has caused his account details to fall into the hands of a scammer. So that's kind of interesting. So let's go back. Fuck that. What the hell? So yeah, 23 items, which all these 23 items are like laptops and other shit, and. Wow, and he's listing more. That's interesting. It's kind of... Well, holy shit. Yeah, I'm going to say, with a good degree of certainty, that is a hacked account, because those items normally go for fucking way more amount of money. Like, that laptop right there, which is a MacBook. 1,500, sometimes 2,000, depending on the laptop, of course. It's kind of interesting. Interesting. Oops. Oh, that's wrong. Oops. So yeah, that's my fucking point. Like, that's a hacked account. You can tell that straight away. He left it there anyway. So I was kind of curious. It's funny though that that person, I think it's a she actually, thought of that, or thought that fact that it wasn't a hacked account, that it was somebody legitimately turning around and scamming people. Which, okay, firstly, the funny part about that though is that that's like, if you're gonna scam someone, really, like, I'm serious, if you're gonna scam someone, you would put a lot more money on electrical items like that. Like, whoever this fucking scammer is, they're a dumbass, because they could sell that for like freaking $900. I know that's the average retail price in Australia. Probably sell that for 130. That's going for about 170 in Australia. Probably be a little cheaper in America. 1,500. 700 maybe. I mean 700, 800 roughly. Yeah, around 900. So that's what I put on the iPad. ROG laptop. Stick 2,000 on that. For the specs, it's not too bad. Yeah, 2,000. And what's this one? Oh yeah. I'd put probably 1,500 on that. That I would say 2,000. 900. 900. So I put it. What's that? Hold on a second. What brand is that? It's a BlackBerry. You could sell at least for 500. I don't know. I haven't actually. I'd have to look at the retail price of it actually. What's that? Titan Grey smartphone. LG. LG always go pretty pricing, so $600. Samsung. It's the latest. It's an S6. With pricing these days, I'd say $500-600 because it probably. I mean, originally it was going for like 800, 900 here, but probably $500-600 now with degrading of pricing and stuff. 900. What's that? Let's see. It doesn't say whether it's an iPhone C. Oh, it's an iPhone SE. Probably 500. What's that? Blue Pure. I don't know that brand, so I could give a rough estimation. I'd say maybe 300-400, depending. But my point is the person, huh? What? Sorry, say that again. Are you going to the trivia? Oh, okay. Sorry, I can only half hear what my dad says. Like, what, the trivia? That's what it sounded like. Through my ears, anyway. Yeah, that's what those are I mean, if you're going to scam someone, if you're really going to take them for all the fucking money they're worth, you wouldn't be a dumbass about it and put that much on it. I mean, Jesus. Scam obviously looks like a fucking retard, but anyway, that's not the point. I mean, at the end of it, I don't like scamming. I don't like people hacking accounts and trying to fucking siphon money off people. It's kind of fucking stupid. But I mean, at the end of it, that guy looks like an idiot. He's just looks like he's trying to get pocket change. Jesus, fucking retard. Anyway, no, this is my point. Anyway, that's a hacked account, and I can tell that straight off the bat. Firstly, because of the good feedback. How much feedback have we got there, right? Shit ton. And that's the first sign of a hacked account. Is it's got good feedback, it's in good standing. Basically, somebody just hacked it because they needed the accounts. Border arrived, counterfeits obvious, I got my money back and then the account was closed later on. So, let's see. So I wondered the exact same thing. Was it a legit seller that got scammed? This is an issue with eBay though. Sometimes eBay can be a bit of an issue. Well, it can be a bit of an issue with eBay and how. I mean, I've got most of my stuff linked in. Like, I'll be honest, I'm a two-factor authentication person. I've always been one of those people who puts two-factor authentication on my accounts. I'm always somebody who makes sure that all my accounts are secure. And I always check the web address of anybody who tries to send me a link, say for example, to an eBay item or something like that, and it enticed me to sign in. I always check the link beforehand to see if it's a legitimate eBay or a legitimate URL for that website. I mean, you're a fucking idiot if you don't do that in the first place. And the other side of it too is if you've got that two-factor authentication and somebody does manage to get your login details, you can block them off using that two-factor authentication because most of the time it's pretty easy to change the password straight away. So yeah, that's like I said, it's just frustrating when that happens. But really, what the fuck, you know? Yeah, this is the one thing I was showing you earlier that my friend posted. Raylene. So apparently Carrie Fisher's autopsy showed that has all the this is my point. And this is what I like that. It's just it's a point about mental illness, alright? It's just, to me, it's a point about mental illness. It makes relevance to stuff, so yeah, it makes sense to me. Connect. There we go. And lost my chat stuff. Some people type new stuff in anyway. That always happens every time I change the fucking scene. Some of my fucking chat stuff vanishes into the woodwork. I normally have to fucking type something in or something. Testing testicles 1 2 3. Testing. Oh, God. Oh, darling, don't get Shane. I'm in Maine. Oh, darling, don't get Shane. I should post myself out on Twitter again. I mean, I have Twitter, but sometimes I feel like it fucking is useless because, you know, trying to get some people to off it and like trying to get things to work off it, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. To be truthful. Well, I mean, I don't know. Probably put a bit of money into it, I guess. Streaming on a river, streaming on that river. Come a chameleon. Play me. I actually got to go onto that website. I know there's people on there who follow me too, so I want to see if I was actually... Fuck you, cunt. Play me. Player. No, player.me? Is that it? I think. I'm gonna fucking work this shit out. Do 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 do. Come and go. Come and go. Come, chameleon. Apparently. Alright, so that works, does it? It worked. Yay. It worked. I think it did. Let's go to my profile. We're launching something wonderful. We haven't launched it yet, so fuck off. Oh, by the way, too, if anybody's interested, I haven't added it to any of my profiles on my website yet, but I have, I have a play.me account, or a social media thing, so if anybody's interested in that stuff, that's mostly for gaming platform stuff, so have a quick squiz, and, I know, as I said, I always post a ton of videos on there anyway. That's funny though. I could have... Interesting. Why was I posting back to that? It's sort of weird. Some of these details are annoying because some of them work, some of them don't. What the actual fuck? It's kind of perplexing. Followers. Another follower. It's good to know. Still want to know friend them. Can I friend them? There we go, yeah, I can. So since I have a follower, that's fantastic. I will friend them because I'm a friendly guy. I'm always so friendly. What a lag. This is my problem. Sometimes I have too much crap on my desk. It's all getting fucking muddled together and it fucking annoys me. I want to move my mouse, it's like I have no room. It's all good. Oh, yes. Apparently GTA 5 or GTA, yeah, no, what are we? Shit. No. It's GTA 6? What are we up to now? I'm pretty sure this is GTA 6, yeah. Well, it's in the works anyway. Officially happening, so apparently they're going to be doing, what are they doing? I don't know what they're doing with it. Possibly the world's favourite gangster-ridden video game series. I do love... Actually, there's been a bit of a problem, though. They stopped allowing mods in GTA 5, which I'm kind of pissed with. I mean, not that I mucked around with them myself, but I'm kind of pissed with them, I guess, for the whole community as a whole, because there was a lot of people who would get into it, you know, and that's the thing. A lot of people were using those mods, and, you know, people are pissed because they can't use them anymore. I don't care. Tag. No emails. That's pretty empty. And my Twitter. It's always somebody putting something in there. Apparently somebody wants me to go to Instagram. I'll have a look. What are you going to have in your Instagram, man? This link is blocked. Copyright infringement. Interesting, dude. Well, that's not a problem, man. I guess you had a copyright problem. Interesting. I have a problem. Copyright issues. Oh, I'm fucking dying here. Okay, there we go. Alright, that works, that works. What's a live dashboard? How are we doing? No, but that's something interesting. I'm looking forward to that. GTA 6 should be interesting. Sorry, we're GTA 5 now and GTA 6. So GTA 6 could be interesting and see which direction it goes in. Looking forward to future games from Rockstar in general, because I've always been pretty adamantly with the Rockstar theme of things, criminal-related activities, so you can play on a game. Fucking cunt. And my fucking start menu's broken. Windows 10, you can suck my dick. Choke on it, bitch. Just saying. Bucking sideways, seriously? So, okay, my bucking start menu's broken. Isn't that fucking lovely? My start menu's being a cunt, a fucking cunt. And you know what? I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna reboot my system. It'll fix my fucking start menu because it always fucking does. Fucking retarded piece of fucking shit. Holy fuck. Anyway, I will be back temporarily. I have to reboot because my fucking start menu in Windows 10 is being a retard. And it's decided, oh no, I'm not going to fucking work now. Yep. That's Windows 10 for you, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck you, Windows 10. Kiss my motherfucking ass, bitch! So, alright, so there we go. Okay, close that. Close that anyway. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Fuck that. Fuck this. Fuck that too. Fuck you. Fuck that motherfucker. Bastard. Okay, close that. I will be back temporarily. I hope you all have a good... Well, I hope you enjoyed the stream that I did anyway. This is pretty much a hate book. This was a Facebook hates fucking free speech thing. So, yeah. Alright, catch up.